We're gonna penetrate.
We were
them
muted
deeply.
the whole time. I did this last show. So hi everyone, welcome to the show. We've got Nick as usual, and Triv is here with us
I'm
as
here.
well. So yeah, welcome to the show with audio now in hi-fi. Anyway, that's a shit show, but hey, it wouldn't be one of my streams if not. I'll fix it all in post for the post. It's for the actual video I put up. But
Fix it in post.
yeah,
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
yeah, we're doing it live. But anyway, we didn't have a lot of stories to talk about today. Not stuff I wanted to talk about. There's only going to be about 4 of them, and 2 movies that we're going to talk about at length. We're going to talk about Nope. Spoilers. We're going to do that at the end, though. So those of you that haven't seen Nope and don't want it spoiled can bow out if needed. If you have seen Nope or you just don't give a fuck about spoilers, then hang out to the end and you'll see more about Nope and the spoilers, and we'll talk about it. All 3 of us have seen it, and we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about a little forgotten gem, maybe, in the middle of the show. So stay tuned for that. I don't think we're going to spoil anything from a movie that came out in the 80s, but maybe. But anywho, but we also got a couple of stories to talk about. No gaming stories this week because not shit's going on there, really. Nothing big. It's all movies. Of course, San Diego Comic-Con is going on right now. And that just threw this show into a loop because right before I had everything ready to go and all like prepared and thought I was big shit King Turd on shit mountain, and then all of a sudden, no, all this other stuff comes out, so I had to work that into the show. So we got a few things to talk about. Some of it coming from there, mainly trailers. We got a trailer extravaganza. Not really. There's just 2. I mean, we usually maybe do 1. So we're going to view 2 trailers and talk about those. Many others came out. I strongly recommend going on YouTube or something and checking out all the new trailers. Dungeons & Dragons, we're not going to talk about that one. Pretty cool trailer, by the way. I was just going to say check that one out. But yeah, anywho, let's move on, I guess. Before we go into our first story and everything, for those of you that don't know, I mean, you know Nick, of course. Check him out over on his channel, Movie Emporium. But also our new guest today, Triv. Triv, tell everybody a little bit about your your channel and what you do over there.
So I'm Triv from Trivial Theater here on YouTube. I do mainly random, obscure, and straight-up bad movies, both in review format as well as collabs with other creators and folks on platform. I try to keep those in an MST3K format just because it's kind of something different and fun. But that's kind of me. So if there are movies that like the movie we're going to be talking about later, I've reviewed and it's right up my alley as far as the kind of thing that I do. So genuinely stop by and show these guys some love as well.
Oh yeah, well absolutely. Check out Triv's channel too, guys. I think you'll really like it. She does some she doesn't usually do newer movies like we do, but the movies that she does are her content is awesome. The movies she does are probably stuff you haven't heard of or you've forgotten about, which kind of works into what we're doing later. But also,
Absolutely.
she has a really cool, just her whole aesthetic. I really like her videos, and we've known each other on this platform since we started around the same time. So
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
and
Because you started
so did
in
Nick.
September of 2018.
Yeah, but pretty much that's when I called my start date, mid-September 2018.
Makes sense.
And you were...
that was January of 2019. No, sorry, March of 2019.
See,
And that was last week of July 2018. So yeah, about the same.
See, we're all
So Nick
within,
is
like,
the old fart among us.
I am.
Old man Nick. He is the old man of the show here. That's why we love him. All right.
I feel old.
So let's jump in. Let's jump into our first show, this is the 4th show, but let's jump into our first story of the... Man, I'm all over the place today, guys. Sorry about that. But let's jump into the first story of the day, and that would be... We're going to talk a little bit about the new Predator movie, Prey, and how there was a screening of Prey at San Diego Comic-Con, and apparently early reactions are very, very positive. They say that Prey has received an early screening at the ongoing San Diego Comic-Con, which led to critics, put that in quotations, we'll talk about why in a minute, sharing their thoughts about the latest Predator film on social media shortly after. The film officially releases on Hulu on August 5th. I'm going to just kind of go through. I'm not going to put them up here. I'm just going to read through a couple of the tweets that people were saying, just to give you an idea. Because I mean, they're very similar. I mean, they're saying things like, I don't know. Some of these, there are some blue check marks on here. I'm not going to butcher all these people's names, but this isn't all critics. Some of it's just people that went in. And I mean, I guess if they're critiquing a film, they're critics. But anyway, I mean, like this person says, Prey feels less like a Predator sequel and more like a revisionist Western that a Predator suddenly crash lands into. And I dug that. Could do without the abundance of CGI blood, but there are some gorgeous visuals here that really should have been given a shot on the big screen. We also get Prey is indeed the best Predator entry since Predator. All praise to Amber Mid-Thunder, who owns the screen against her alien foe. It's back to the bloody basics as a thrilling hunt that delivers everything I want from a Predator flick. It is brutally primal and gory, and maybe glorious. And one more, Prey is an excellent action-packed entry to the franchise that creatively takes it in new directions. It's the best since the original, with great central characters and a fun, menacing new Yuntai design. Loved it. I always screw that name up. The Yuntai, by the way, is the actual name of the Predators themselves. Now, they keep on going from there. There's tons of them. They pretty much all echo those sentiments. Lots of it's the best since the original. Lots of it's just great. There wasn't really anybody saying anything bad about it. But, really, big criticisms. They're all saying good stuff. So, I guess my question to you guys, because that's really all there is here. I mean, they didn't give us much else except people are saying it's really good. Me, myself, I'm a huge Predator fan, so I'm happy to hear this because I didn't know which way this movie was going to go. But I'm curious as to what you guys think about it. Nick, I know you're at least a somewhat of a fan of Predator. I'll start with you to tell us, what do you think about what you're hearing about this movie and overall the movie in general?
Well, Dan Trachtenberg is directing it. He directed 10 Cloverfield Lane and one of the best episodes of Black Mirror. That sucks. Anyways, I'm looking forward to this movie just on that simple fact. I think, this is one of those movies where not much has been known about it. We knew it was going to be a Predator movie of sorts, but, now they're saying that it's a different type of Predator movie than what we've gotten, and we haven't gotten very good in the last 30 years or whatever it's been. The only excuse me, the only issue I run into with this whole positivity notice is if you've ever been to a press screening or like a premiere of sorts, the excitement is actually through the roof a lot of times. So the early buzz most of the time can be negative in its own right. So I'm not saying that movie's going to suck. I'm just saying I'm cautiously optimistic that the movie's going to be really good because it looks like a fun movie. It looks like, that Dan Trachtenberg and the crew are putting together something special, but we'll see. I hope it's good. That's where I hope. But I mean, everything, if it's as good as they're saying, then I'm truly excited. So
yeah,
that's
something I've seen too. Like when it comes to these really early screenings to these movies that are anticipated, or like this particular one, a lot of the times the people that are there to see it are just happy to be there seeing a movie early. So sometimes it kind of heightens that excitement, and so it's almost like, I'm not saying don't put any credence in or give any credence to what they're saying, but it does kind of like, oh, I'm just super hyped to be here. So it kind of makes their viewing experience even better of that movie.
Yeah.
Not saying that's what happened, but yeah, I could totally see that. But how about you, Triv? Are you a Predator fan? Where do you stand on the Predator, and how do you feel about this movie Prey? And do you even know anything about it? Have you seen the trailers? Tell us about you and Predator.
Well, the Predator and I go way back. He used to take me for long walks on the beach. No,
right on.
Sorry. I saw the original Predator. It's been quite a while. I didn't see any of the other in-between ones. I am familiar with AVP, the two AVP ones above everything else. So say that however you will. I guess it goes to show you what my theater is made of too. But I like I saw the trailer. I kind of looked at a few reactions to it just from what people had said, and from what I'm seeing, I mean, I think it looks fresh. It's something, and not that AVP is it's in its own realm, obviously, but I do like the different take that they're going with this. It looks it looks interesting. I'm really excited to see what they have Native Americans do against this high powered, crazy, tech advanced civilization. So,
Well, I know that's one of the things about this one. It's supposed to be like an older. I mean, obviously it takes place in the past, so this Predator's not as advanced as the Predators we've seen up to this point. But I mean, he's traveling the galaxy. He's still pretty damn advanced, I would think. I don't know. I guess
I do have a question about this though. Okay,
Yeah.
so the original Predator movie makes it feel like the Predator was never known about, but if the Predator is back in this time frame, wouldn't there be some kind of stories that were told about it? I mean, it seems like they're like, I guess the revisionist history they're redoing on it, maybe. So I'm interested to see how it's going to connect to, get to the chopper and stuff like that of, the Predator movie. But I don't know. It's weird that like the Predator's coming to Earth and 200 years prior or something like that. So I'm not saying it's not a good movie. I always find it weird when they go back and like it's like the Star Wars effect. They go back and like, where were these characters before? In the original trilogy, that type of thing. So
Well,
I don't know.
it's not the first time. It's the first time we've seen him in the past, but it's not the first time they've been referenced in the past. Like in Predator 2, they had that gun that I think said 1776 or something like that. I can't remember the year.
Oh, that would
Maybe
be
it was
awesome to see,
1856. But yeah, in the end of Predator 2, he tosses the old musket pistol or whatever it was to the flintlock to Danny Glover, and it has a date. I can't remember the date, but it's like way back. And he sees like they've got like trophies from like over the hundreds of years. And also, we don't like talking about it, but the AVP movies, they talk about how the Predators I think they took a part in building the pyramids, and they've been coming to Earth at least for a while and doing like trials and stuff like that. So they've referenced the past. I'm going to assume it's just whenever they get involved, they either stay out of sight, and if they're in sight, they kill whoever the fuck's on. So I mean,
when you look to just sorry, I mean you look to just like old cave drawings or hieroglyphics or wherever you see them, ancient aliens shows like that will be like, oh well, this is a sign of an early astronaut, that's a sign of an alien. You could take that whole concept, and they kind of did, like you say, over the past Predator movies as well, but they have that sense of, okay, this could be interpreted as something else. And plus you get conspiracy theorists that are like lizard people, and who's to say that the Predator is a lizard person? Exactly. But yeah, I that's kind of my thoughts on it.
Well, yeah, and I don't, because they're, it's the natives, and all the stuff in the trailer doesn't look like a lot of people are involved in this situation. And I know that there's a part that shows some people with guns and stuff like that. I guarantee you, I don't know, I could almost guarantee you that gun that Danny Glover gets is going to make an appearance in this movie. Because like it is like that musket flintlock era. I don't know what year exactly it's supposed to take place. It's probably whatever year was on the side of that gun in Predator 2. I can almost bet you. I mean, maybe it won't. And if it doesn't, hey, I commend them there, because that's kind of low-hanging fruit. I'm not going to hate it if it does. It's just them trying to have some connective tissue. But I would be surprised if that gun doesn't show up in the movie, honestly. But
that's
anyway.
Kind of like the Crunch Bar from Ghostbusters Afterlife. It's such a little. Yeah. It's obviously it's a bigger piece of it than what the flintlock pistol is, but it still kind of has that sense of, for those people in the crowd, they're like, oh my god, they did the thing.
Yeah. And I think that they'll probably do the thing. I could be wrong, but I think that they'll probably do it. But what? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nick.
No. I was gonna say it's gonna be interesting to see if they do kind of a little bit of like Horizon Zero Dawn, a little bit where like she somehow finds some technology of the Predator, and that helps her defeat the Predator and stuff like that. It'll be interesting to see. I'm interested to see like how the weapons will be used in this movie, like the bow and arrows and spears and stuff like that. How that's gonna, used up against like the Predator. Like, I'm assuming these characters in this movie have like much better hiding skills than the commando, the people in the original Predator. So it's gonna be interesting to see like how they're able to protect themselves compared to like Arnold and Jesse Ventura and Carl Weathers and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, not to get too deep in Predator lore, but the Predators are supposed to be an honorable species, and they are not supposed to hunt if something is fighting hand to hand, they don't. Their code, if you will, they don't like use their shoulder cannons and all that. And I'm assuming because if you look at the trailer, you see like some different new weapons. Like he's got like an armed spear thing. It's not a cannon. He's got like these spears he shoots out. So I'm wondering if this Predator, like, it's kind of like of course they're already more advanced than whatever they're hunting. That's how we as people are. But I would guess that it's going to be a situation to where it's like, okay, I'm hunting these people that just have like these weapons like bow and arrows and stuff. So I'm only going to use, my little the thing. They want the hunt. It's all about the hunt for them. So they don't want to go in there with a plasma cannon and just blow everything away. That's not that. There's no sport in that. Like that's why in the end of pretty much all the Predator movies, like the good guy drops their weapon and then the Predator takes his shit off. He's like, all right, let's do this shit, and he'll only fight with like his knife and stuff. But what you said about them, like taking on the technology, we've seen that a lot too. I mean, Danny Glover, he got, I think he used the spear, he used the disc, and he also used some gun in Predator gun in Predator 2. Predator 2 is just like trend setting, I guess. But then you've got in the AVP, which that goes back to the comic books. In the comic books of AVP, that's what happened to the main character there. She kind of became a Predator, kind of, and worked with it and like took on a lot of its weaponry and stuff like that. But in the movie Shania Lathan, she takes on, she kind of does a little bit of that too, makes her own little spear and stuff like that, and uses some light Predator tech. So it wouldn't be the first time we've seen it, and I can't really remember the Predator, so and what they did in that. But,
I try not to remember the Predator.
Yeah, the less said about that, the better. But yeah,
more or less than AVP.
How did
I honestly, I'm okay with AVP. It's not great.
Yeah, because Paul Anderson directed AVP, and at least it was halfway decent. The Predator is directed by Shane Black, and I'm sitting here going,
yeah, no reason for it.
Yeah, it made no sense to me. I'm like, how did he direct this movie and it turned out terrible?
Yeah, he's in the original one, and he had writing credits to a degree in it. So I was hyped for the Predator, and it's one of those movies that I look back at my review and I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't review that high now. But anyway, so yeah, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. That's all we got. The Prey, it's coming. Me myself personally, I was cautiously optimistic for this movie before hearing this news, but now that I've heard this, I'm like, okay, cool. I mean, I am going into it still cautious because I know how these early screenings are and how people, get hyped. I get it. You go to something, it's like, oh hell yeah, I'm the one who gets to see it. It's special, but yeah, I don't want to like jump to any conclusions and get too hyped and be let down. So I'm just gonna leave it alone, or I'm just gonna kind of go in it still cautious. But I am more excited about it now. I'm happy to hear that the movie is looking good as far as everyone else is concerned. Okie dokie. So let's move on to our next story real quick. And this story evolved from what I originally was going to talk about because San Diego Comic-Con, and we're going to actually look at a trailer as well here and talk about that. So this has turned into from a story into a kind of a trailer reaction. And that, of course, is John Wick. Now, the original story that I was going to talk about was that the footage had been screened, and actually this footage was screened at CinemaCon like a month ago. And this footage we're going to see here in a minute that they made a trailer out of. But then we got our first image yesterday morning of John Wick, which is this one behind me. It doesn't matter.
It's so fancy.
It doesn't matter really. It's him praying, or he looks like he's kind of doing sort of a praying thing and some candles. That picture doesn't even matter now because After that, they released a fucking trailer last night, I believe it was. Later last night. So now we're going to watch that trailer. But before we do that, let me throw out a few things. What I was going to talk about with this is the director, which is the same director as the others. He said that he was worried that he's not going to be able to live up to the previous films because each film has done financially better than the others. So finances isn't always, the be-all, end-all, but they're doing better. More and more people are seeing each film. And he is quoted saying, there's been a couple of days where I've decided to do a number 4, and I've woken up in a cold sweat going, horses, how do I beat horses? Referring to the whole John Wick 3 thing where he's riding around the horses and they have like the fight with swords and all that. And he said, I have no fucking idea, to tell you the truth. I have a lot of really cool ideas for the next one that I think are different and shocking and fun and unique. How to do them, I have no fucking idea. I'm still figuring it out. I'm assuming that these comments came from a while back. I just saw them in a recent article. I'm assuming he said that because the movie's done filming, so I hope he figured it out as to what he was wanting to do. But let's real quick before we talk about it. And by the way, John Wick Chapter 4 hits theaters May 23rd, 2023. Actually, I think that's changed. Let's look at the trailer here. But let's look at this trailer for John Wick Chapter 3 real quick. Chapter 4, and see what we see.
Have you given any thought to where this ends? The table will never stop. You know this. No one, not even you, can kill everyone.
You ready, John?
Yeah.
Priorities. I had to watch Puppet Master.
Yeah. By the way, everybody, we were muted again. Sorry, but
Oh no.
I am, and this is all my fault. By the way, I'm doing a terrible job at this week.
Magical made it very aware that we had no sound.
Oh, are we getting to? Okay, See, it's doing
Oh.
that thing again. My stream. I was wondering because I use a third party. What do they call it?
Software?
Thing for the chat.
Plugin?
What you see in the background, it's not receiving all that. Apparently, it says it is. Huh. Well, let me open up my other thing so I can at least glance over the chat. I didn't think anybody was in here commenting or anything. Hey, there it is. Okay, I'm receiving them now. All right. So, if anybody else has commented, and sorry, I hadn't seen it, but
Oh yeah, I'll let you know.
all right.
Don't worry.
Anyway, moving on from
Movie
there.
Emporium is a head bitch in charge.
breaking it up. Moving on from there. The what we were saying a second ago when we came out of that trailer and you just saw mouths moving and nothing coming out is that Trev has actually never seen any of the John Wick movies, as she said. Actually, I guess I gotta let her tell it again. So Trev, one more time, tell us your history with John Wick and what you thought of this trailer.
I'm trying to hide. Sorry. Keanu was already looking at me in severe disappointment. So it's on my list. I have never seen them. I'm a huge Jason Bourne fan, and I love like all the different movies. So you'd think I'd seen this, but I haven't. I know that it's Keanu Reeves, who obviously kicks a ton of ass regardless, and you have a cute dog that got, his ass murdered, and yeah, he looks good in a black suit, so I guarantee you it's probably kick-ass, and it's on my list, and I have all 3 keyed up, so when I get off this, I can, flagellate myself while watching this so I can make up for that atrocious mistake.
Yeah. There's your trailer reaction for John Wick, Chapter 4.
It's about as in-depth as I can possibly give you. I mean, what do you expect me to do? It's choosing between John Wick and Puppet Master 5. I mean, priorities.
Yeah. Well.
Apparently.
Well, what did you think of? Was there anything? I know this trailer was like really fast and just like a lot of shit happening in it. Did this, coming from someone who's never seen John Wick and has beyond knowing there's a dog dies and then he goes on a 3-movie revenge tale about his dog and his car. Now 4. Did this trailer look like something you would want to see? Was there anything in particular that jumped out at you?
Well, I mean, the fact that Lawrence Fishburne shows up was pretty cool, and I'm sure that's probably a plot point somewhere in there. But he looks like a guy, and I know a little bit of being a former hitman and such, but he looks like a guy that's either recovering from something or dealing with some really severe emotional shit or something throughout. And those ones that take you beyond just the, shoot 'em up and gore and blood. I think those are awesome. So yeah, there's a lot of great action. Clearly, choreography is huge in movies like this. So I'm excited to see what they do. I will definitely, check it the first couple of days because I will have seen all 3 John Wick movies at least twice by the time this comes out next year.
We'll see, but yeah.
You have my word. I will do a watch along with you to make sure that I watch these suckers.
Hell yeah, I'm always down to watch some John Wick. I haven't seen those in a while, but yeah, you are right. It is a lot of ass kickery, and I'm looking forward to you getting all the John Wick references that people put out there where they're like, oh, it's like John Wick in space, or it's like John Wick this, or people make John Wick references all the time, and now it's dawned on me that you were just like, I just don't get it, that I don't understand.
I mean, you can draw references from like the stuff that's going on in the shot. You can kind of be like, okay, well, I'm assuming insert random thing here, and that's kind of where you get it. So
John Wick is a badass, but
yes, ideally speaking.
So what did you take from this, Nick? I know you've seen John Wick 1, 2, and 3. What did you take from this trailer? And then we'll discuss just little points about it.
Okay, so I have to make an admission. I have seen John Wick, by the way. The first John Wick I didn't see for forever because of the whole idea of the dog, being killed, the whole thing there. It took me a while to watch it. After the last John Wick movie, Parabellum, I'm like, I didn't think they would be able to bring John Wick Oh god, that last movie is brutal as fuck, but this trailer is awesome. I mean, it looks like a John Wick. It brings back Chad Stahelski as the director. I think it's funny. He's like, I don't know what the fuck to do. I'm just, it's like Fast and the Furious. We're just gonna do whatever the fuck we please, and it has balls of the wall action. And that fucking, I mean, we'll talk about it, but the axe throw is fucking awesome. I mean, I honestly didn't even learn about this trailer until 11 o'clock this morning as my time, and I watched it. I'm like, yep, I want this now. Give it to me now. And then I find out Triv has never seen the movie. Triv has never seen this movie before. Oh man. Okay,
first off,
I might have to rethink our podcast.
You know what? Twilight Zone has nothing to do with John Wick, so you can piss right off.
It has everything to do with John Wick.
It could. You wouldn't know. You haven't seen it. But yeah,
you guys are assholes.
I've been called.
Should I get a T-shirt and just write it across my chest that I'm not a John Wick whore because I haven't seen the damn movies?
Not yet.
But I want to be. Yeah. Okay.
Oh man, John Wick 3 is amazing.
Well, I echo those sentiments somewhat. After John Wick 3, I didn't know if we needed a John Wick 4. I mean, I love John Wick, and I love those 3 movies. All 3 of them are really cool. The third one kind of goes out there in a few parts where it's like, wow, this is getting really, really, the lore gets real deep. And I was like, okay, it's getting a bit much, but then they reel it back in. It was still an awesome movie, and that end, just 30, 45-minute gun battle thing they have at that one place. I don't want to ruin it. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about, but that was awesome. The way it ends, though.
Please enlighten us. How do we know that you've seen all 3 movies?
I own it. It's right over there.
I think it's time to start another podcast.
John Wick.
We're gonna call it Wicking It.
Yeah, Wicking It. Yeah, it's either about John Wick or men's underwear.
But witchery.
Yeah, or that could be about The Witcher too. But anyway, I was thinking, I was like, I don't know if I need another John Wick. I feel like this story has been told. I mean, they do leave it open in the end of the third one enough to do something else, of course. But I was like, the story that they set up has been told, I thought. Yeah, of course they're going to expand upon it. They're going to give us a reason he's doing whatever he's doing in this movie. But I was more than cautiously optimistic. I was just kind of like, man, I feel like they're just doing this for money, like Spaceballs 2, the quest for more money. But
at least they're honest.
After seeing the trailer, no, I now realize I do need John Wick in my life still. John Wick 4 needs to be in my life because this trailer was really fucking cool. It was really short, to the point, and if nothing else, it showed us John Wick beating the shit out of somebody with nunchucks. And that's all I needed in my day. That made my fucking week right there. So there's all the other cool stuff. He shoots a gun at some guy that looks like a fucking gun/flamethrower. I don't know what was going on there, but whatever. He shoots people that are on cars that are flipping over. I know
he uses horses to kill people. It's amazing.
Yeah, the director said he was afraid he wouldn't be able to one-up. He's one-upped every movie, and he was like, I'm afraid I won't be able to one-up John Wick 3. I don't know, this trailer looks like you one-upped John Wick 3. I mean, if you get Halle Berry and some attack dogs in there with it as well, and, we've got a movie. So I am curious. I love what this trailer did because it doesn't tell me what the story is. But that's the thing about John Wick. I don't need to know the story. John Wick is back. Yeah, I'm back. I think I'm back. And he's shooting people and killing them and beating the fuck out of somebody with nunchucks. What else do you need? Lawrence Fishburne's. We get Morpheus back, too, finally, after that other movie. But, so, I mean, myself, I could sit there and critique every single thing that popped up in this movie. Like Nick said, we got the axe throw that's really cool. Harkens back to the knife fight in, I think, John Wick 2. And the whole, the nunchuck thing I said a few times, and just cars flipping. It was just an awesome trailer overall. I'm not going to go over every little bit of it, but just as a whole, I am really excited for John Wick 4 now. I was, like I said, I was on the fence about it, so I didn't know if there was a need. There may not be a need. But they made a fucking need because now this trailer looks really fucking cool and exciting, and it looks like John Wick, and that's what I wanted. Was there anything in this trailer for you guys that I mean, I know you said the axe throw, Dick, but that pops out. What do you think? I know that Triv doesn't know the intricacies of the story so much. Where do you think the story's going to go? Why is John Wick doing this again? I mean, knowing what we know where Parabellum ended and everything, why do you think this movie's happening?
Because reasons.
Because John Wick, motherfucker.
Yeah, he's got to get payback, motherfucker. He's got to go for the gusto. He's got to get the triple crown. He's got to fight on motorcycles and horses crown? And the quad crown, and he has to fight James Bond and Gremlins and Bill.
Drink hot cups of Uranus.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't remember in the end of the movie. Is he still excommunicado from the Continental at the end of 3? I don't remember. I just remember the roof thing, and
I think the whole Continental is excommunicado.
After that
end.
But I mean, there's the whole that not just the Continental, but that whole world is still going on. But I thought he kind of more or less solve the whole everybody after him situation in the end. I mean, I know
he took on the host of the Iron Chef. I remember that.
Seriously? Oh my god, that's awesome.
He did fight Batgirl at some point, I think in the 3rd movie. So that happened. I don't think so. I think they'll make up a way. This is like the Godfather of action movies where they'll figure out something. Maybe he'll eat an orange. I don't know.
Let's just hope it's not the Godfather 3 of action movies. Hopefully this is Godfather 2, even though we're 4 in.
Ghost Hand 246 says excommunicado after 2. 3 was him being hunted by the High Table.
Yeah,
which I think the High Table had who was it? Was Angelica Houston? I think it was High Table.
Yeah, her. I remember it's the people that he went and talked to some of them like out in the fucking desert and stuff too. But it's been a while since I've seen it. But that whole world are they? Because I know he took the bullet in the end. Sorry, Triv, but he took the bullet in the end.
How dare you!
And off the building and all that, but wasn't there kind of like didn't they have an agreement or something like that? I remember there being an agreement in the end where it's like, oh, okay, he's good now. I remember him like figuring it all out.
I mean, what's his face from Deadwood? I think went on his side, and Lance Reddick of the toy store. I'm pretty sure he went on his side. So I think the whole Continental's gone, and I think it's them are gonna fight with John Wick in some way. I don't know. I'm really honestly watching this trailer doesn't give you much of what actually is happening. You just Chad Stahelski is doing more crazy action, which the John Wick series was never known for high concept storytelling. It was how kick-ass Keanu Reeves can be apparently in a movie. So
I'm glad they brought up the High Table, because that reminded me. Yeah, I remember that now. That's like the the larger the upper echelon, the leaders of this whole worldwide syndicate thing. I wondered, maybe this is he's going to take them on, maybe? Because he's clearly pissed off. I mean, he fell off a fucking building and got shot, but he survived, and then homeless Morpheus got him. And I'm wondering if that whole subsect of assassins or former assassins or whatever are going to all get together, and maybe, like you said, Lance Reddick from the Continental and everything, maybe they're going to be taking on the High Table now, and they're going to take the fight to them, I guess. Maybe. I
hate high tables. You're sitting at the bar and you get too drunk and then you fall off, and it's a lot further of a fall to the ground, and then your ass hurts and you spill your beer, and you don't wear underwear, and that gets exposed. It's just a freaking mess. So I imagine if they're fighting a high table, God help them.
That sounds like a magical sequel to Magic Mike 3D.
Oh, no, there's another one of those coming too, by the way. We're not talking about it.
Yeah.
There's another Magic Mike coming, but we're not going to talk about that. Anyway, that's my thoughts. If you guys got something else to say about it, we can. But John Wick
looks awesome.
Yeah, John Wick Chapter 4, it looks fucking awesome. I'm pleasantly surprised. As much as I've loved that series, I was hesitant because I was like, I don't know if we need this. But after seeing this trailer, I realized I did need it. This is what I was missing in my life, was this trailer and this movie. And it's coming early, which is crazy.
That's what she said.
It's coming early now in March instead of May, so I'm really looking forward to that. I will definitely be there, hopefully before March 23rd, I think it said. Maybe I can get an early screening. We'll see.
Ooh.
But yeah, John Wick Chapter 4. Let us know in the comments what you guys think. I'm looking forward to it. What are you guys looking forward to?
There's actually one more thing, and I don't know. I pulled this off Wikipedia, so I don't know. Take it with a grain of salt. But as of March 2021, Derek Kolstad stated that there's the potential for a crossover between John Wick and Nobody, which would be in a small Easter egg type reference.
I have said that, like, I wanted that when I reviewed Nobody a while back, because they are.
Can you imagine Bob Odenkirk and fucking? Oh my god, that would be awesome.
The theater will
lose
their fucking minds if Bob Odenkirk shows up in a cameo in this thing. Like, if it is all these people getting together to come, like, at just whoever there's clearly going to be a team up of sorts, and then he does a cameo and shows up. Holy fuck, that would be amazing if he showed up and they just worked it in. He didn't have to be in the whole movie. If he's just there for a moment and he's in there, that will be fucking amazing. That's bigger than Marvel. Maybe not, but that'd be some big shit. But hopefully.
Well, and they say that it's the same creative teams and studios that make both films. So
yeah, it is.
However you state that one way or the other, or if it's just Wikipedia being Wikipedia, but
no, that makes I don't know how official that is, but it is a lot of the same creative forces behind John Wick are behind Nobody. However, I do remember I did a story like a year or two ago when they first started working on this film. Somebody behind the scenes, I can't remember who, I want to say the writers maybe, they are not the writers on this film. So they changed writers or something like that. Unless they changed it back. I know they were going to be doing that. That was one of the things that you saying that reminded me. That was one of the things that kind of made me I don't know about this, because they were like taking it away from them. But the writers, or whoever it was, whichever main creative force behind the scenes, still wanted to do this film. They were like, oh yeah, I'm ready for oh, you don't need me. And like they went with somebody else, whoever it was. It clearly wasn't the director, but I think it was, I want to say the writers. It was one of the creative forces behind it. So that kind of scared me, but I don't know. After this trailer, I'm good. I think we're in good hands. Hopefully this movie doesn't suck.
This is kind of off topic, but Ghost Hand 246 says something about the Payday gang, and I was like, what do you mean? He's talking about the Payday game. Apparently, he's in the same universe as John Wick. Did you know this?
Really?
No, I didn't. But I'm aware of Payday, but I've never actually played it, so I didn't know that was within the same universe. That's pretty cool. Now I kind of want to play Payday. I guess I'll check it out.
Add to the list.
But all right, well, thanks for that info. That's actually, now I'm more interested in that. I'm going to check that out later. But so that's John Wick 4, our trailer reaction. I know it was kind of sloppy and all over the place, but it is what it is. I mean, the trailer was so fucking fast. Yeah, at least shut up. But the trailer was just it was really fast, and that's what the movies are. They're fast and hard. Go ahead and say
that's what she said.
Yeah, go ahead. There you go. They're fast, and that's what the trailer gave me. It gave me that same feeling that I get from the movie. So
it gave you a fast and hard feeling.
Yep. So I was happy to see that. But moving on from there to our next story of the day, we are going to be taking a look at, and this is actually a story I didn't. This is something I'm wondering. This is not a story I read. It comes from a story I read, but this is something I was just wondering before we get. We're gonna do a couple of stories, or a story before we get into our next trailer reaction and our review. And the story that I read yesterday, well, actually a couple of days ago, was that Deadpool and Logan have now officially been added to Disney Plus, or Deadpool 2 and Logan for Disney Plus. Obviously, they were owned by Fox. Disney acquired Fox. Now they've put them on their streaming service. They are Deadpool 1, 2, and Logan are the first R-rated films to be on Disney Plus. They got it on there yesterday, as of this recording, on Friday. And that's great. Everybody's like, oh, yay, that's a good one. And there were some funny tweets from Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds, their friends and everything. And what I kept expecting to see in these multiple articles I read about this, that's great that they're on there. What I wondered immediately was, have they changed anything? because Disney Plus is
God.
notorious for changing shit, and not even obviously not rated R movies because they don't haven't even had them on there. I mean, doing dumb, like what I consider to be some dumb changes to movies, older movies, and just all kinds of movies that end up on Disney Plus, like covering up Daryl
Adventures
Hannah's
in
butt.
Babysitting.
Yeah, Adventures in Babysitting,
that's
with cutting out the fuck that she says. That was a iconic part of that film. Just changing things, and people haven't liked it. They always catch it. Now, I'm sure it'll take at least a few days for anybody to notice if there's been any changes to the films. Logan, it was more violent. It was less, edgy. So I wouldn't be surprised if nothing's really changed there. But Deadpool, I could totally see Disney coming in there and changing some shit. So I'm really curious. And obviously, I don't have anything. My basis of this is what they've done in the past. I'm just curious, do you guys think that Disney, I hesitate to say ballsy enough because Disney got some big fucking balls, but do you think that they will cut anything, change anything, alter, cover up, just do alter these films at all when they put them on Disney Plus? And what are your thoughts about that? Or, I mean, what do you think? Does this open up like the floodgates for Disney Plus to finally have like a more adult section on it? What do you guys think?
Well, I think they're going to put up a curtain across the back of the video store. So, like, if you want to get back into those, you gotta go behind the curtain. So I was looking online just to see what was around, and according to like the official quote unquote Disney stuff, basically they say that they've made available they've changed up the parental controls, which they were starting with which they started doing with more mature rated Netflix hero shows like Daredevil and Luke Cage. So if they go that route where they're leaving it in control of the parents, that's one thing, but I don't know. Like, the only thing I could see them changing on Deadpool is, obviously unicorns. You got to be careful of those, so they'd probably take out the unicorn. But otherwise, everything else is fine. There's no violence. I was like a bullet up my main street.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a ton of things in Deadpool and Deadpool 2 I can see them cutting out, honestly. I mean, if they're going to cover up Daryl Hannah's ass and splash and take out one fucking Adventures in Babysitting, and that's just what I know of. There's been other things. They did some stuff to The Simpsons too. I think that was more just the way they framed it. But what do you think, Nick? What is your take on this, as for this whole thing that I put out there?
Well, as Logan being one of my favorite comic book movies of all time, that whole movie is predicated on the violence that it shows as a way of telling the story in a very mature, disturbing way of the future. Well, let's put it this way. They actually did some editing on the Marvel TV series shows as they were airing. So like Moon Knight and I think Captain America, Winter Soldier, whatever, Falcon, Winter Soldier, whatever nonsense was. So them going, if they're going to do this crap, if they're going to go in and edit these movies, just don't put them on Hulu. Don't put them on Disney Plus, because you're just neutering some of the best comic book movies in the last decade or so.
Yeah, real quick,
And
I want to interject. That's for those of you that don't know, Disney owns Hulu, so that's why like Disney owns Predator now. That's why Prey, things like that, rated R affairs or mature affairs are showing up on Hulu and not Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. If they're gonna have, just keep your mature shit on there. If you're wanting to keep Disney Plus all pure and everything. But instead of altering them. Now, once again, I want to reiterate, I do not know if these movies have been altered. I'm going off of their past history, and I'm just wondering if they are going to or have. I don't know anybody who's watched them on Disney Plus. I'm not going to watch them on Disney Plus. But I'm sure if they alter one single fucking frame of these movies, it's going to show up online somewhere. I'm sorry. You can go ahead.
No, I mean, it is. That's the problem. Like, you worry that Disney Plus is going to neuter it, and it'd be stupid, to be fairly honest. What's the point in having Deadpool and Logan on your streaming services if you're just going to take out the best parts of the movie? I mean, Logan is R-rated for a reason. Deadpool is R-rated for a reason. Like Adventures in Babysitting, there's no reason or logic. Okay, X-Men Days of Future Past, they actually show Wolverine's ass in that movie, and they kept it in there. But yeah, I know, right? Oh my god. But they can't keep, don't fuck with the babysitter in there. I mean, come on. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So you basically be watching a there was a joke about neutering TV movies and movies and stuff like that on TV. I can't remember what the joke was, but when we were kids, we would watch like Godfather on TBS or Godfather on NBC or something like that, and you're like, what the hell is this? This is like, this doesn't make any sense. They took out the best parts of the movie, and I don't need that. I need my Logan unedited and unfiltered, and Stephen Merchant and Boyd Holbrook doing their thing. So I don't know.
I'm personally not as, I hesitate to say worried, but I wouldn't think the violence part of it. Disney's kind of like the news; they'll show you violence all fucking day. I mean, I don't see them being. I mean, if it's something super gratuitous, maybe, but I'm not as concerned about them cutting out violence. It's more language and themes. That's why I kind of look at Deadpool, because Deadpool got some raunchy ass shit in that movie, and part 2 as well, which I love, but Disney clearly doesn't. I'm more wondering, are they gonna censor some words, or are they gonna cut some scenes out? Not the whole scene, but just censor some stuff. And it's that stuff that I figured that they would gravitate towards, not so much the violent side of things.
I just had a really weird thought. So when Deadpool and his girl are getting it on, and she's like behind him with the strap on, I just imagine like a balloon animal like popping up in the scene. It's like covering. Definitely. But on a more serious note, you think about, okay, you know what, you've got your TV, you're rated for your edited for TV broadcast, but you could always find the original. You could get it on physical media, or you could find it on, one of the pay channels, or it was always someplace. Disney owns all this stuff, and they're very stingy about how they let it out. If they're editing their content on Disney Plus and not having it anywhere else, your options are so limited to get the actual original stuff. And that's so sad, if that's the case.
I'm actually surprised that they released Deadpool and not that PG-13 version that they put out, the Christmas one or whatever, with Fred Savage.
Yeah,
I figured the Princess Bride-esque one. I figured that would be the one they put on Disney Plus. But yeah, I could totally see like that scene where you're talking about, where she's pegging him from behind, and like Mickey Mouse just comes on and blocks it, and it's like, this ain't cool, motherfuckers! You can't be doing this.
Well, Ghost Hand actually makes a good point. They're doing a Marvel Zombies, which is based off the What If series that they did. And it's gonna be rated TVMA, so I mean, maybe Disney's like, we're gonna loosen up our belts and allow a little bit of it to stretch out.
Pegged. They're gonna allow themselves.
Yeah, they're gonna allow. Yeah, exactly what you said. Exactly.
Like I said, I don't think that they have issues with. I mean, to a degree, the violence is not what I'm as concerned about. I'm more concerned about the other mature theme stuff, like that scene in particular that Triv was talking about. That one, I could totally see them changing. They might show it, the visual of it, because it doesn't show anything. It just shows her behind him, like, doing that, right, from what I remember. But I could see them, like, changing what they're saying, because they're just getting really raunchy in those scenes. It's hilarious. That's the comedy of Deadpool, is how raunchy and just fourth wall breaking out there he is. But, I mean, that's all there is to this. Isn't, like, a huge story. It's more of a talking point. I was just curious, because that's immediate. When I saw Deadpool 1 and 2 and Logan are coming to Disney, or are on Disney Plus now, I immediately thought Splash and these other movies we talked about, the Don't Fuck with the Babysitter. I was like, what'd they cut out? What did they cut out of these fucking movies? Because I don't feel like they could just not. I don't think they can help themselves. And you could say, oh, no, they wouldn't dare. Yes, the fuck they would. Disney finna Disney. Yeah. Disney does not give a fuck. They got big ass balls. They'll do it, and then they'll just be like, whatever, you'll forget about it. You get the attention span of a fucking goldfish. So.
But they did with the when they made the changes to was Captain America and the Winter Soldier, was the one that they switched up, Nick?
Well, I mean, in like what way?
They were taking out like
oh yeah, they took out like blood from Moon Knight, and they took out some things in Falcon the Winter Soldier. I can't remember exactly what they took out, but it's like
have to do that part with the shield where he decapitates the guy.
Probably.
Oh yeah. Well, I was gonna say that they got pretty, and not to say, I know Twitter is Twitter, but I do think that people gave them enough shit and are aware of it. They made the change pretty quickly, and then they were like, oh, well, that was just a work print. That wasn't the right one. So, even though it was ridiculous, lame excuses, they did still make the change, because when it comes to Deadpool, when it comes to Logan, people aren't going to sit there and say, we're going to take this. Those movies, they have, it's like everything else, they have the dedicated audience and they're loud. So if they tried that, I feel like they'd be called on it pretty hardcore.
I mean, yeah, but I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in Disney, I ain't gonna lie.
I don't either, but I think that they're, as much as they have big balls, I also think that given enough stuff, they do, as long as it's not like, oh, we need to re-release the entirety of Rise of the Jedi because, we weren't satisfied with the thing. I think people are at least somewhat amicable.
Disney is, if it's going to make them money, well, they put saving face and money are right up here, but money is always a little bit higher. So if it's going to make them money, they'll fucking do it. They don't care. I mean, people, whatever.
I'm sure they gained subscribers from having this on their Disney Plus. I'm sure they gained quite a few subscribers now that they have Deadpool and Logan, because they're huge franchises. So
yeah, if nothing else, that people think that this means they're gonna put other mature rated stuff on there. Now I'll go over to Disney Plus, but I don't know. I'm just weary about it when it comes to them and editing stuff and change, because I feel like that's when you start changing movies like that, it's like there's been some shit in movies over the years that doesn't fly now. I get it, but that's history. That's the time. And these are newer movies, granted, but they've changed a lot of stuff in movies. There's a bunch of other changes that have been done to smaller properties that people have mentioned as well. Like, they've made a lot of changes to their back catalog, and I'm like, why are you changing history? It's revisionist history, if you will. And maybe I'm going a little bit big there, but I don't like that. Just leave it what it was. People understand when they watch a movie. I mean, me and Triv watched, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, a movie last night that had some stuff in it that was like, oh, that wouldn't fly. But it is what it was. It was a product of its time. Let people make the decision that if they don't want to watch a movie now that was made then with the stuff in it or whatever, they can make that decision that they don't want to fucking watch it. I don't like Disney making the decision that, not that you don't want to, you can't. You have no option to watch that original version, of course, unless you go buy physical media, but whatever. Whole nother discussion. But so that's Deadpool, Logan, Deadpool 2. They're on Disney Plus now, so if you're interested in that, go, I guess, check out Disney Plus. I would be interested to hear from people that know, and I'm sure we will hear soon enough, if they are edited in any way.
I can tell you right now, I just watched just to check to see. I just went and looked at it. They're unedited, so they're indeed the R-rated versions.
Nice.
Okay, well, cool. Well, there it is. I mean, I didn't think that they would like edit them down to PG-13 or anything. I'm just wondering if there's something that some big wig up at Disney's like, oh no, everything else, okay, we'll let it go, but that's gotta go. I don't know. We'll see. And this could be a nothing burger of a story. Like I said, it's not really a story. It's just something I was wondering. But anywho, moving on to our next thing before we get into our main event of the show. I'm excited about this next story. Not a ton of info on it, but I'm just excited about this announcement, and that is that Mortal Kombat 2 has been announced. Now, before you say anything, I understand that a lot of people had issues with the 2021 Mortal Kombat movie. Me, myself, I enjoyed it. I liked it for what it was.
I did too. It was fun.
Yeah, and I thought it wasn't perfect. It had its issues, and we're going to talk about one of its main issues and how I think it at least potentially could be corrected with this one. But since that movie came out, it was a moderate success. It was R-rated. That was one of the things that made it where it wasn't a huge success. But it apparently was successful enough to finally get a sequel greenlit, because it leaves you on a hell of a cliffhanger. But Simon McQuaid, I think is his name, is returning to direct the sequel. He directed Mortal Kombat with a script penned by Jeremy Slater, which we're going to talk about that in a minute. The first one was a modest success, opening at number 1 at the box office, though this was in the middle of the pandemic, and grossing $84 million worldwide against a $55 million budget. However, this was one of, if not the first, theater and streaming at the same time. This went to HBO Max, and that's where a lot of people watched it. The title was also an HBO Max was also HBO Max's most successful film launch at the time of its release. I don't know about now, but so it did well overall. How much money? Yeah, it made $84 million in the box office. How much money did it bring to HBO Max? Who knows? But apparently, much like Dune, we were talking about a week or so ago, it brought in enough that they're going to do a sequel, because studios aren't going to make something if it ain't going to make money, especially if it costs a lot. Now, what I wanted to mention, beyond the fact that I'm just excited about this movie, and I want to get you guys' thoughts on the previous movie just real quick and what you think about, are you excited about the sequel or not, or this forthcoming sequel. One of the biggest issues that people had with it was the story, different aspects of the story, the screenplay, if you will, how the story played out, new characters that were added to the story that people didn't like. It was all writing. It wasn't the direction. A lot of people said that the actual direction, the fight choreography, the all of it, that was fine. Technically, the movie was in good hands. Everybody's issues went back to the writing. We have a new writer. It's not the original writer of the first film, which I didn't mind the story of the first film. It wasn't like, Oscar winning, but it did Mortal Kombat. It was R-rated. This is being penned by Jeremy Slater. I have no idea what Jeremy Slater's done in the past, but this could potentially fix one of those big problems people had with it, was the writing, the story, the dialogue, all that stuff. So we'll see how that works out. But at least, hey, for those that didn't like it, it's not the original writer. It's a new writer. They're giving it another opportunity. So what do you guys think of this? What do you think what are your thoughts on Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat 2 of the 2021 variety?
Okay, so I guess I can go. I just looked up Jeremy Slater, and he is known for writing Fan 4 Stick.
Oh,
no.
shit.
That's not good. And the Lazarus Project and the Death Note Netflix movie.
Now, real quick, on Fan 4 Stick.
Okay.
On Fan 4 Stick.
Yeah.
My understanding, and we've all heard this, and we'll never know, that movie actually started good. And, there was a good movie there, but it was that whole thing about how supposedly it was hacked and slashed and edited after, a whole bunch. And there was lots of issues with, I can't remember the director's name, but
Josh Trank.
Yeah, Josh Trank.
Josh Trank, yeah.
Apparently there was a great movie there, but all the issues with it came from, after it was shot and everything. And they ruined the movie, and that's not his movie. So it may have been a good script. Now, the Death Note one, I haven't seen that, but I haven't heard good things. But continue.
Well, I mean, he also did. He also helped create Moon Knight, which is fine, and Umbrella Academy, which a lot of people like.
Oh yeah, I like
and Wile E. Coyote. Okay, I've said in my review. I talked to Jacob about this, I'm sure. I was not a fan of the Mortal Kombat movie. I thought it has some cool violence in it, but the story, the fact that the Mortal Kombat wasn't really there, it pissed me off. And I'm like, hopefully the second one can do that.
It was a prequel.
What's that?
It was. I mean, it was. And I said that because if you remember, I saw it early. It was one of the few films I actually got to see much earlier than a lot of people. And I told people leading up to it, I was like, all right, be prepared. It's a prequel. It's not Mortal Kombat as we've known. It's a prequel. And I don't think people were prepared for that. They didn't realize that. I think that they had in mind from the get-go, this is part one. We want a part two. Whether that's good, I think they have said that part 2 is going to be the tournament and everything, but it's supposed to. They have a 3-part story arc that they're thinking about, and this one was supposed to be a prequel to everything that we know thus far. And I just don't think that. I don't know if it's because of the way they put it out there, if people just weren't wanting that, or what. But yeah, it was a prequel to the Mortal Kombat we know. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean I get it. I understand that, and I'm hoping that they learn from the mistakes of the first movie and improve upon it. Which, when it comes to video game movies, it's a shit shoot. It's a crap shoot. You never know what you're gonna get. Sometimes you'll get, I don't know, Clue. We'll just call that a video game movie, and then we get stuff like, I don't know, Resident Evil, Tomb Raider, and it just, I don't know. I'll be cautiously optimistic for this one. He definitely delivered the goods on. One of the best scenes in the movie is Kung Lao and his
oh my god, it's so good,
rotating blade hat.
Oh, love that hat. Love that hat so much.
Yeah. And I liked what they did with Scorpion and Sub-Zero. I thought that stuff was good, and there was good stuff in the movie. I definitely did not like a lot of people Kano's character, but you know
Really, you
they're
didn't
gonna
like
bring
him?
in Johnny.
I thought
No,
I enjoyed
really
him.
Really?
didn't.
I liked his
Oh, he's fun.
his
Yeah,
character.
I know. I like John. I'm guessing Johnny Cage is gonna be. Was Johnny Cage in the first one? No, I don't. think
No, he was the big.
Anyways,
that was a big
yeah.
controversy, and we're not going to get into it.
Mhm.
But they replaced Johnny Cage with shit. That the main
Oh,
character, the
Cole.
Kyle,
Yeah,
Kyle or
Cole.
Cole Young.
Cole Young. Yeah, they replaced the
Cole
main
Sprouse.
character with generic armor guy, and that was originally in the screenplay. The original screenplay, which was heavily changed, was Johnny Cage was supposed to be one of the main characters, because it's not a main, but he's like one of the 3 or 4 main characters was supposed to be him, but they took him out for, let's just say, reasons. But that's how we ended up with
Fun
Cole
reason.
Young.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hey, on
Lord
the
have
with
mercy.
the with the Mortal Kombat theme, did they didn't do any different version for the
Yeah, they did.
20 or they did.
They did
I had
a
forgotten one
version.
way or the other.
I played it in my review of it and lived with the copyright claim for a while, but I think it eventually got dropped. But yeah, there is a newer version that half the song is really cool and then it just gets kind of bland, but the first half of it is legit.
I wasn't sure if they had Cole Young in that, if they like named them all off and added him in there randomly, or
Oh no, he's not. It's just it's like a updated dubstep remix of the old song, pretty much. It's pretty
So
cool though,
it's-
but it doesn't like, it's not like Scorpion, Sonya Blade, Cole Young. It does not do that. No, he is not included.
I was gonna say they didn't do like a Weezer's Toto or a Weezer's Africa in this.
Hey! Weird Al Yankovic was in that video. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no.
Not
Hey.
even Weird Al could save that shit. Just saying.
No. Cole Young is not. He could drop off out of the movie. I don't think he will, but I mean, I didn't hate like that. His character. Speaking of him, because he was a big part of focus of contention with the first movie. I didn't hate his character, but I see where everybody's coming from. He was not needed. He was kind of like the audience's eyes and ears. I get that, but that could have been anybody. You didn't need this generic character. And also, I know the history of where at least it came from as to why his character was there, and I think that was stupid, but whatever, and why Johnny Cage was not there. The whole situation regarding that, I'm not getting into, but look it up. And it's documented is stupid. It's just stupid reasons to take out such a main character and then put in this character that nobody liked. I mean,
You know the main problem? The main problem with the whole thing? James Remar wasn't in this movie as Lord Raiden. They just ruined it.
that's what we need. We need a multiverse Mortal Kombat. It's going to have James Remar,
right.
Christopher Lambert.
Christopher
They're all going to come back as Lord
Raiden.
multiverse Raidens, and they'll have the guy, I can't remember his name, but he played Shao Kahn, and he'll say, "It is glorious."
Oh, yeah.
That's what
And
we
bringing
need.
back Kari Hiroki Tagawa as Shang Tsung. Be amazing.
Yeah, I'm down for that. He came back for the video game for Mortal Kombat 11. They mocapped him
Did
in.
he really?
He did the voice and everything. Yeah, there's a add-on that they did, Aftermath, I think they call it, and Shang Tsung is added to it, and it's him. It's his character. He does the voice. He's in the story. Because those games are almost like movies now. But he plays out like this whole thing as Shang Tsung and everything. It's pretty cool. I check it out. It's worth getting, depending on how much it is. Its original price was like $50. But if it goes down like 30, it's legit. There's a lot of content there. But if you love you some Carrie, I always fuck up that poor guy's name. He's an awesome actor, though. If you liked him as Shang Tsung, check it out on Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this just because I really enjoyed the movie, and I am excited to see where they go from here, because I do feel like all the people involved in it, even though they missed some stuff and they made some decisions and some choices. Overall, I enjoyed it, and I could tell. I think that they were fans. They were fans of the property, and while maybe they got a little bit, overzealous with some stuff, overall, I liked the direction it was going, and I think it was a good setup for something cool down the line. So hopefully we get that. I know that out of the 3 of us, I'm kind of the Mortal Kombat super fan, just all around. So it probably means a little bit more to me. But I'm also the showrunner here, so I get to pick the story. So.
I mean, I would say I'm a very casual fan of Mortal Kombat. Like, I enjoy the movies but that's kind of where my knowledge begins and ends. Obviously, when you compare this to the other two movies, it's going to be either 2 or 1, depending upon where you sit. But I thought that they did a great job. Like, the translation worked for someone that knew the characters but didn't really know the characters. Outside of Cole Young, you kind of sit there. Even I was like, yeah, okay, you just sit over there in the corner, let the big people talk, kind of a thing. But the one thing that this Mortal Kombat was lacking was crappy CGI. Like the lady with 4 arms. Like,
Shiva.
There needed.
Oh my god, that was so terrible.
We need some reptile in this bitch.
Yes.
Mortal Kombat Annihilation needs to be annihilated. That you know what? I think we can all
lose.
You will die, or whatever she said. Yeah. That is one thing I think that we can all, not just the 3 of us, the world collectively can agree on, is that Mortal Kombat 2021 is better than Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Because that movie's fucking terrible. I hate that goddamn. I know some people think it's so bad it's good. No, it's just so bad. It's
they're
fucking
sadists.
Sucks. Yeah, they fuck that movie. But I do hope that this doesn't go the. I don't think it's going to go that bad of a route, but I hope it quality-wise doesn't, dip from the first to that one like that did, because that was a fucking shit show. Jesus.
I kind of enjoyed Annihilation.
Oh my god, this. I can't. I saw that in movie theaters on opening day. Jesus. Yeah, she would. You want Trivial Theaters channel? She talks about movies like Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
We actually did a collab with me and Night Watch Zone. We did a collab on Annihilation, and
I know.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. not like the whole thing. Like, when I say enjoy, there's that level of, okay, I know that I understand what a good movie is and what a bad movie is, but just there's bits that I just kind of go, like, I would like to travel via weird, ball through, underground tunnels. I'm really a pinball fan, so it's right up my alley.
This is a woman that loves duck human sex.
I can't say I don't. I mean,
think that the audience may need some context there.
No context. No context on that.
Howard the Duck.
I was just gonna leave it at no context.
You were the one that was kind of obsessed with duck tits, so
Hey, you know what? When in Rome.
Yeah.
When in Rome, what? Finish that thought.
Duck tits.
Mr. Nick.
Because anal.
Duck tits.
Well,
yeah, exactly.
Signpost up ahead. Duck tits.
Because anal. But no, Mortal Kombat Annihilation. There are some things. I like talking shit about the movie. I'll say that much. There's some really terrible. Like, I can't believe that they filmed some of that and were like, yeah, that's okay. Moving on to the next shot. I like talking shit about the movie, but sitting down and actually watching it for a viewing experience by myself, oh god, that's brutal. That's a fatality right there. That should be a fatality in the next game. They sit someone down in front of a TV playing fucking Mortal Kombat Annihilation, their head explodes, or they just die of boredom.
Fucking new Cybot and Jax fighting is the worst.
Whole movie's the worst. But
some of the stuff that goes on between Scorpion and I'm sorry, the princess lady, like when they're trying to get across
Melina.
when they're trying to get across the ice bridge,
Katana.
and he's like, "Goodbye, sucker," and it's like, that's just weird. What the hell is that?
And he does it in his Scorpion voice. He's like, no, he goes, "Suckers!" And he's what is happening? And Scorpion's my favorite character. What have you done? That's so bad. They couldn't possibly go that bad. That is something that this movie did get right,
don't
though.
say that, because
Yeah, I said that about the last one too, but or the part Annihilation. That is something they did get right with the 2021 version, though, is Scorpion and Sub-Zero. I thought were awesome in that movie. They did. I thought the characters, their look,
the opening was awesome.
Yeah, that was cool, and just like some of the stuff about the characters, the detail and all that there, I really enjoyed. Jax's arms and how he gets his new arms was kind of dumb, in my opinion. But whatever. It was that was actually kind of comical. But whatever. I can look past it because I'm a fan.
Oh yeah, dude ripping off his own arm, get his arm ripped off. I mean, he's either gonna have new metal ones grown, or he's just gonna have to use his feet for everything. Really, I mean, those are your options.
I didn't mind him losing his arms. That happens. The way he lost his arms, I thought was cool, and all that. It's how he got them back, and he's like at this monk temple, and all of a sudden he's got these steampunk, and they're like itty bitty skinny arms on there, and the effect didn't look bad. It was just the whole situation overall was just like, what the fuck is happening here? And then I don't know, that was odd. Once he got the plating on it and everything, I didn't really care where it came from. I was like, it looks fine. And that is accurate to his character in the games. Not how he got him, just like the look. But the way he got him, he's like laying there in a bed and he's got these little twig arms. It's like, and they just kind of gloss over it. They're like, he got little robot twig arms that he got in a cave in the middle of the fucking desert. Because
that's what happens in the desert.
Because anal.
Yes.
Right. You know what we need in Mortal Kombat 2? We need some Striker and Nightwolf.
They're Mortal Kombat 3. Well, yeah, they're MK3 characters.
Yeah, they were Mortal Kombat 3 and 4. Yeah,
but we can, they could add them in there. I'd take it. They were in Annihilation, so hey, there you go. They can be in the second one. But yeah, Mortal Kombat 2 is coming to probably a theater near you at some point in time. There's still no release date or anything. It just now got officially announced or greenlit, if you will, so probably at least a year away. So 2023, maybe even 2024, we're gonna get some more Mortal Kombat action from the same director and a lot of the same creative force, except for the writer. So let us know in the comments how you guys feel about that. Are you excited about what did you think about Mortal Kombat 2021? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was absolute trash? And are you excited about there being another one? Or did you hate the first one, but you say, hey, you know what? I think they were headed in the right direction. I just think this wasn't it, but maybe this next one will be good. We'll see. Soon. Coming soon.
You could also talk about how much better Annihilation is than, the first one or the remake.
Or we could just not.
You can also get your comment deleted. If you talk about that.
There's going to be video. There's gonna be like missing footage. It's like, what's this blank dead space?
Your dumbass I'm sorry, I don't like talking shit about people's opinions. But if you like that movie, like as far as like if you like it for like, oh, this is just a great movie, entertaining what? Just
no.
Unsubscribe. Anyway. Alrighty. Well, okay, that's the last story we've got this week or today. We got another trailer. This was last minute, this other trailer I got for us to talk about here. So I'm having to do it old school to turn it on. But
you just tickle it under that one special part?
Yeah, there you go. We've got a new trailer that just released today that I was literally throwing together here right as the timer was going down and it was live. And it just showed up at San Diego Comic-Con. Lots of trailers and I just said, well, maybe I'll talk about them later or whatever. Don't have time to add it in. But this one, I was like, yeah, we got to talk about this because I really enjoyed the first one, and that would be for Shazam 2 Fury of the Gods, I believe it's called. But we just got
some arms there, Jacob.
Yeah. Oh, wrong way. Let me line up with him. But
oh yeah.
Anyway, we just got that trailer dropped today, like right before I thought I was already ready for this show, and then I come down and I'm like, oh fuck, I need to add that in. So we're gonna check out this trailer real quick, or I'm gonna let you guys see it, and then we are going to discuss. So here is the trailer for Shazam. I think it's the Fury of the Gods. Yeah, Fury of the Gods.
I'm an idiot.
It's showtime!
I don't deserve these powers, if I'm being honest. Like, what am I even contributing? Ow! There's already a superhero with a red suit with a lightning bolt on it. Aquaman is literally huge and he's so manly. And Batman is so cool. And I'm just me. I feel like a fraud. It doesn't matter. Anyway, the wizard gave me superpowers. Well, then everybody got superpowers.
Where's everyone going?
To fight crime?
Okay.
Now everyone's kind of like doing their own thing, and I'm the only one trying to keep it together.
You understand I'm a pediatrician, right?
Come on!
Now let's get down to business.
Listen to me, Billy. The fate of your world depends on it.
What is this?
The daughters of Atlas are coming for you.
Children stole the power of all the gods. This is very personal, Billy.
Look, I might not have as much experience as you because I'm not super old like you, but I've seen all of the Fast and the Furious movies, lady. It's all about family! Family! Guys, that was a signal!
Introducing the star of our show. His name is Shazam! Now let's get down to business.
Your world will not survive this.
I don't know how we fight powers like this.
You think I know how to fix this dude, but I really don't.
Baby, everyone can be worthy. Let's give it a chance. Now go fight for your family. Go fight for the world.
I just threw a truck at a dragon. I love my life.
And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Unmuted so you can hear. Damn it, I am sucking today with this.
I should have reminded you, I'm
thank
sorry.
you, Magical. No, it's not your fault. It's my fault. I just to let you guys know, those of you that watch that don't. Oh, sorry. There's the reason for it. The reason everything's kind of a shit show today is because my setup changed because last minute I had some last minute changes and adding the stuff in and all that.
It's my fault. That's fine.
And it's thrown off some of my mojo. So yeah. Anyway, I will try not to let that happen again. What I was saying, there's the Shazam 2 trailer, and me myself personally, I really enjoyed Shazam. I remember thinking it was a fresh take. It was breathing some fresh air into the DC universe, and it was just what DC needed. And I was really excited by the end of it to see, where they were going to go with it, and if there was going to be a sequel. That whole worm thing in the end, really, I was like, I don't know who the fuck that is, but whatever. I don't know if that character is going to show up in this, or who it is even. I think I read about it at some point, but I can't remember. But yeah, Shazam. I thought it was a really fun movie. I'm looking forward to this. We'll get deeper into the trailer here in a minute, but let's see what Triv and Nick thought about it. So who wants to go first? What did you think about Shazam, Fury of the Gods, and Shazam in general?
Well, I think you said it right, and I don't know if it was when you had sound or not, but throughout all of the DC stuff, this is a breath of fresh air. Like, Shazam is just fun, and there is some serious bits, but it is such a different take than the darkness, and in a good way darkness, that you get with a lot of other DC properties. So to have that juxtaposition is really quite nice. And Zach Levi just knows he lives Shazam. He's like Ryan Reynolds with Deadpool. There's just something intrinsically perfect about his casting.
I agree. Yeah, he was great in that role, and the kid who played him, who played the kid version of him, I thought was really good too. Really, everybody. I liked everybody in the movie. What's his name? Who played the villain in the first one? Mark Strong. He was even he's kind of one note sometimes, but he worked for the movie. His villain was kind of dull-ish, but it worked because the movie was all about Shazam, and I really enjoyed it too. Nick, what were your thoughts on Shazam?
The original Shazam was a welcome surprise. It was a film that I wasn't, like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It's a movie that you don't expect much of, and ends up being better than, like, say, Aquaman and half the other crap that comes out, because it really feels like an originality. Like, there's original feel there that there isn't in a lot of comic book movies these days. That's why I like Logan and Deadpool so much, because there's like originality there that isn't seen in, like, the latest Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. But yeah, it was great. It was real great. I had a lot of fun with it. I saw it like a couple months ago, and it's just a lot of fun. It's also Zachary Levi. He's absolutely fantastic to watch as an actor. He's a lot of fun and enjoyable. So
the one not regret that I have, but thing that is regrettable for me is that in the end of that movie, they have it's only from like chest down, but the cameo from Superman, Henry Cavill Superman, and as we know in recent news, unless something changes big, but I doubt it is, that's just he's not going to be Superman anymore. We've known that for a while, but it's all but confirmed now. Even though he wants to be, we're not going to get on the Henry Cavill thing. He should be Superman. He's awesome Superman. But I was really hoping to see Superman show up, like have some time with Superman, but unfortunately not going to happen. But I agree with you guys. I think the first one was just awesome. This one looks fucking fun as hell. I mean, this trailer just looked like it was really fun. I really liked how it seems like, because he's like talking to a therapist, a child or a pediatrician, but he's doing a therapy session thing, and he's talking about how I got like kind of like vibes that he's, he was special. It's like, hey, I'm the superhero, I'm special, but there's all these other people that do it so much better than me. But at least I was a superhero, but now I've got my family, and I love my family, but they're all superheroes, so it's kind of like, it's almost like an identity crisis he's going through, and I doubt that they'll like go like super hard into that, but I thought it was kind of neat, because he was he was special, and now he's just part of this team, and it's probably going to be a thing to where he has to like figure out how to be a part of that team, how they all have to come together. And of course that's going to be a thing, put family together. And that's when, and just, I love the line from Fast and Furious when he's talking to Helen Mirren, who by the way is in the Fast and the Furious series. And he said, because he even says to her, I've seen Fast and Furious though. And she kind of goes, and like he says, and it's all about family. I was like, that was awesome. That's great. They worked in a meme in the most perfect way in that scene. And Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu, I believe it was, as the villains, I suppose, the antagonists in the movie. I really like Lucy Liu, and I love Helen Mirren. She is the most attractive older woman on earth. I find her to be extremely regal, and like I tell my wife, I hope you look like that when you're older.
Damn.
Well, I'm sure she probably says she hopes you look like Sean Connery as you age.
Yeah, probably. Or Harrison Ford or something. But
she's probably like, I hope you look like Gollum, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, that too sometimes. But no, but I do. I find her to be, because she's like 80 or 80 something at this point, and she's looking a bit older now. She is starting to show more of her age. But I've always thought that even in her older age, she's always just had this regalness about her, and she just looks very, just sophisticated and very, just like attractive. Not like in this, oh yeah, baby, ooh, like kind of hot, like.
Oh, come on now, you know full well that you would.
I mean, maybe a little. If I wasn't married, I mean, I'd knock the cobwebs off that pussy.
If we looked at your computer history, I guarantee you there's some Helen Mirren attractive nudes in there someplace.
There may be now, but I mean, yeah, she is. I've just always.
Alexa, look up Helen Mirren attractive nudes.
I unplugged that bitch. She's always coming on. Damn it. But no, I do.
She said.
She's a great actress, and she's a great presence, and she's just a attractive older woman. She's aged extremely well, but I'm looking forward to them. I don't know. When in watching this movie, it gives us, or this trailer, it does what I like about it, much like the John Wick one. It gives you an idea of some stuff, like the whole thing, like I said, about him kind of struggling with being a superhero and other people being heroes and yada yada yada. You see that the family is going to be there, like they showed up in the last movie, and it shows us the villains. I don't know exactly what they're trying to do. I don't know what the story specifically is. I get an idea of the tone. It didn't give away too much. Now, I mean, they may throw another trailer out that gives everything away. I hope they don't. I want them to stick with this trailer. I do not need any more. This told me everything I needed to know to say, yes, I want to go see this movie. And I hope that's what they stick with. And I think that I'm sure you're going to bring it up, Triv, but the whole Annabelle reference, which Nick had some more info on it. I really thought that was funny, but that's enough of me talking. I enjoyed this trailer. I really liked it. It did everything I wanted the Black Adam trailer to do, but it didn't quite do. Black Adam was almost there, and it might still be great because it's The Rock and I love him, but this gave me what I wanted. This is 2 great trailers in the same day, and the Dungeons and Dragons trailer, which I'm not talking about today, but that was a great trailer as well. Looks really fun. So I'm really looking forward to all these movies, but this one specifically, yes, I'm excited about this. I think it's going to be cool. And what do you guys think? What's your thoughts on it?
Okay. I'm not real high on the trailer, to be fairly honest.
Gasp.
Clutch my pearls.
Is this because we voted down Eye of Beholder on the Twilight Zone podcast?
That hasn't aired yet. Shh.
Shit.
That's all right. You have editing software on this podcast, right? Or this show, right? Trev, you're being edited out.
Revenge! Revenge!
Yeah, that's all right. I just like the last trailer. This trailer just didn't do anything for me. It doesn't mean the movie won't be bad. It felt like a bland CGI trailer. Just a bunch of CGI thrown at the wall. Seeing what dick sticks and stuff like that. I mean, Zachary Levi is fun. And
I mean, yeah. There was an attractive bulge, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
And that was just a pediatrician. That wasn't even Shazam.
Did we see the same trailer?
Jacob's flabbergasted. He's flummoxed. He didn't know what to say.
I'm just wondering which trailer you guys watched, but I'm sorry. Continue.
I watched Shazam XXX.
I watched Shazam Furry of the Gods.
Oh my god, you need to quit.
No, I'm not gonna lie. The trailer didn't do much for me. It is what it is. Trailers, they sometimes just irk me when it comes to, especially superhero trailers. I mean, this feels like it's gonna be another fun, entertaining movie, but I just don't have. My problem is always sequels. They never feel like a lot of times that they're gonna be better than the first one. They're just gonna struggle. I don't know. The CGI just really turned me off on this trailer. I like Helen Mirren as much as the next person, Caligula and all that stuff, but this trailer just yeah, even Triv knows what I'm talking about. It just
I know.
Oh yeah. That's also on Jacob's computer.
It might be on my computer for all I know. I don't remember. 4K or I guess probably super or ultra HD cut of it, unrated, etc.
8K zoomed in.
Yeah.
But like the whole shot when they turn into Adam Brody and whoever else is in this the superheroes, I'm like, this is stuff I've seen before. I really hope this movie works for me, but I just felt the trailer was lacking in everything. Well, maybe I'm tired too. I don't know.
I mean, I enjoyed the trailer, admittedly, but I
mean, it's better than Black Adam.
Yeah. I think that one of the things that makes me that kind of adds to that enjoyment, not to the enjoyment, but reinforces my thoughts and my enjoyment, is that it is the same creative team more or less across the board, behind and in front of the camera. So I'm like, they really hit it out of the park last time. They really did a great job with the first one. So, and I think that they do really have, like Zachary Levi and Triv mentioned a moment ago, they have a real love and care for this character and this world. So I'm like, that that puts me in the right. They're making this movie for the right reason, and I think that makes me feel better about it. So then I kind of view the trailer from that perspective. That hey, it's gonna be. I think it's already am going into it thinking this is probably gonna be pretty good. I mean, you never know. It might go into it and be a fucking shitstorm, but I'm very optimistic about this movie and where it could go. And yeah, there's a lot of CG in it, but I mean that's just superhero movies nowadays. I don't know. It is what it is, I guess. That's what you get.
Yeah, fair enough.
How about you, Triv?
Shazam is probably my favorite DC. And regarded with DC, you either go super dark or, a relative amount of levity. And I'm always one to go for levity regardless. I would probably, of the three of us, I probably go Marvel more than most just because I really enjoy the humor. But I can admit that their stuff goes, that they don't allow the emotions to sink in. It's, moment of of true feelings, and all of a sudden it's like bitch slapped away for, a cheesy gag. But I think the original Shazam balanced all of that in a really good way. And and you can only judge so much from a trailer, but from what the trailer showed us, I do think that they've got that right balance. They didn't look at it and go, well, we did okay with this one, but what can we up? What can we, let's push the humor more and pull back on some of the real emotional stuff. I think at least by that, you kind of get a decent balance. The other Marvels, they looked great. I think it's going to be a fun movie, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, this movie, what it does have that the other ones don't.
Skirts.
Family.
Well, I thought you were going to say explosions.
Well, yeah, they have that too, but yeah, explosions is always good. But did you guys have any takeaways from the trailer as far as like things you saw that made? There was one thing that I had as I asked that question, and then go into what I had. But the wizard guy, whatever he was, Damon Hasu, I think is his name. I could.
Jamin Hansu.
Jamin Hansu. Yeah.
Who?
Didn't hit? Yeah. Who is it? Star-Lord. That's good. Didn't he die in the first movie? I could be wrong. It showed him. He's in this one in this trailer quite a few times. But didn't he die in the first movie? Or am I remembering incorrectly? It's been a while since I saw it.
It's been a while since.
It is a comic book movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it is comic book, so they come back like in the regs. So.
I mean, yeah, that's true. But I mean, I'm not familiar enough with Shazam lore to know like exactly how that works, or if he, if he's supposed to be back, if he's come back, I don't know, but I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe he didn't die, but beyond that, I mean, the trailer, like I said, it doesn't tell you a whole lot. We just see lots of effects. We see them flying around. We see the family dynamic, and we see him talking to Helen Mirren's character, and them blowing shit up. But I mean, and we see some comedy. But that's kind of what I needed, what I personally wanted from Shazam. It was some pretty cool action and some solid comedy that landed, and that's what I got from this trailer for me personally.
Well, here's a question I have for you because it was asked at Comic-Con. Do you think Dwayne Johnson's going to pop up in Shazam, or Shazam's going to pop up in Black Adam?
Both. Well, I think that Dwayne Johnson's definitely going to pop up in this, if nothing else, in a post-credit scene, because this comes out before Black Adam, right?
No, it comes out after. It comes out Christmas time.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe it'll be the other way around. Maybe Shazam. I don't know. Yes, I think that there will definitely be crossover to these two movies in some way, shape, form, or fashion. The bigger question that I'd be wondering, or that I am wondering, is while Henry Cavill they've said flat out, no, they're not going to let him do Superman anymore. Since this does clearly take place still within that universe that's set up so far, is there a chance, like just a little chance, that we get a Henry Cavill cameo in this movie? And I know he said, and for Black Adam as well, The Rock made some pretty bold claims saying he wanted Henry Cavill's Superman in the Black Adam movie. He wanted them to go head to head. So I am curious as to, between those two movies, I know we're talking about this one, will Henry Cavill show up in some capacity in those movies at all? I doubt he'd be like a main character, but could it be a cameo?
People would lose their shit if Henry Cavill popped up back in one of these movies. people would lose their effing minds. As much as those movies are not great that he stars in, he is definitely probably the best Superman since Christopher Reeve, to be fairly honest.
For sure.
I mean, he's definitely a good-looking dude, and he's a guy that has a lot of charisma, and he can dump trucks on fire, on telephone poles and stuff like that. So if he pops up in it, Jacob will be screaming. We'll hear Jacob from like everywhere,
like a fucking
screaming
schoolgirl.
Yeah.
Well, the biggest reason I would think that he would not show up in either one is Warner Brothers has made it clear that they're wanting to go in a different direction with their DC movies. Well, they keep saying that. They keep saying, we are changing directions, we're going in this new way, we're having all new versions of these characters, but they keep releasing fucking movies with the ones from that universe. Aquaman's coming, they had Wonder Woman, they got this one that's showing characters from it that is within that universe. I mean, if they did put a cameo of Henry Cavill's Superman in this movie, I feel like you're right, people would lose their ever-living minds, and then there'd be even more pressure on Warner Brothers to keep him in that role. And they are really trying to move away from it into a different direction, regardless of what you think of that direction. So I'm wondering if that is one of the big things I would think that why they wouldn't ever allow it, because that would just put so much more pressure on people or on them from their fans saying, no, do it. You did it here. Do it again. Do a movie. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, hell. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, didn't and maybe I picked up the wrong thing, but I thought there was Comic-Con news saying that he was gonna be showing up there for some announcement.
No, he didn't show up.
Oh, he didn't. Okay,
No.
I missed that part.
Yeah, I think you had told me that too. That's probably just rumors and stuff like that. But even if he did, that doesn't mean it was necessarily for Superman. But yeah, I think that's just fans hoping and praying, especially after the Snyderverse news that recently came out that they are, from one of the main creative leads, saying, yeah, it's done. It's not happening.
That's
Nail
fair.
in the coffin. So
I mean, people lost their minds when The Flash and Aquaman popped up in Peacemaker. So, I mean, think about if Henry Cavill popped up in
yeah, that's
one of
another
those
one.
movies.
That's another one. And Henry, I mean, the character was in Peacemaker as well. It's just like over there hanging out. They didn't really show. It wasn't Henry Cavill. It was like a CG version. But I mean, they keep saying no more Snyderverse, for lack of a better term. But they keep on putting shit out that's in that universe. I'm like, okay, when are you got? They keep making stuff because they were saying that the Snyderverse is done, no more of it, and then they made this movie that is clearly set in that universe. I'm like, which way is it? You guys can't have it both ways. I think they're depending on that Flash movie, which we're not even going to get into that. And
yeah,
what's going on with that? But
can of worms.
That movie is supposed to, because it was already supposed to be out, and that was supposed to reboot it all. But either way, as far as Shazam goes, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I think it looks to me like if you enjoyed, for me personally, if you liked the tone and feel and look and just everything about the first one, then this one's going to be a worthy follow-up. I know, Nick, you said you didn't care for the trailer that much, but I have high hopes for this movie. I'm hoping that it does well, or does what we want.
Agreed.
I'm still optimistic. That's where I'll leave.
You're cautiously optimistic about a lot of stuff today.
Well, that's my life, is cautiously optimistic.
Yay!
I mean, I can't lie. I'm usually cautiously optimistic about stuff too, but I will say I'm probably more optimistic about this one. I'm looking forward to it. A big part of that, though, is because everybody involved with the first one is involved here, but that doesn't always work out. But alrighty. Anyway, moving on from there, we are going to move into that is the last story. It's not really a story, but we're going to move into two things here now. We're going to be doing, not right now, the last part of the show is going to be a spoiler review / ending explained of Nope. So we're not doing that now, so don't leave yet. So if you haven't seen Nope, or you just don't want it spoiled, stay away, because we're going to spoil the shit out of it, and there is stuff to be spoiled in that movie. However, if you don't give a damn about spoilers, then hang around. But right now, we're going to talk about a little movie that I'm going to start doing, maybe not every show, but a bit here on the show about movies that maybe we don't all either don't remember, that has something about them. They're not always great movies, but there's something about them that's worth watching. Like in the case of today.
Oh, God.
Or movies that were great that just were totally forgotten, that people have forgotten. Maybe they were big when they came out, but they've just been forgotten in time. And I'm not talking about like silent movies or anything. Most of these movies are within my lifetime, which is not long. But today's movie that we're going to talk about is a little flick called Space Pirate, or I'm sorry, Space Pirates, The Ice Pirates.
Yes.
Came out in 1984. Triv, do you have some information on this movie, like as far as like some stats when it came out, who's in it and all that? Because I am not prepared and don't have all that pulled up.
I do, if you don't mind talking for another like 2 seconds.
You know me, I can just talk until let's put it on Nick. Let Nick talk.
All right, I got stuff up. So.
No, but in all honesty, guys, this will be a reoccurring bit on the show. Not every single episode, but where we're going to talk about some movies. I've got some lined up, and we're going to try and get somebody on who maybe their channel or their thing, their persona online lines up with a particular movie. Triv actually picked this one. I had a list of them. This actually wasn't on the list. She brought it up, and I was like, yes, that's the kind of movie I'm talking about. Because I remember this movie from when I was a kid. And let me tell you that. I remember the movie, but I don't remember shit about it. I remember scenes, I remember things that happened in it, but I don't remember anything about the story. And there's probably a reason for that. I know what that is now, but I'm going to let Triv give you guys just a few stats and background on the movie, who's in it when it came out, etc., etc.
All right. Well, the Ice Pirates stars Robert Ulrich, Mary Crosby, Angelica Houston. It was Ron Perlman and Mary Crosby's second movie. John Carradine, who was the father of David Carradine, starred in this, but he did a whole lot of like ultra low budget and kind of 50s B movies type stuff. As far as credit, or as far as stats, as far as trivia goes, this started out as it was intended to be a serious sci-fi movie with a $20 million budget. MGM looked at it and decided to slash the budget to $8 million, so it had to be completely rewritten as a comedy. And there's bits of this you can look at and you can see where it was trying to be serious, but then it just lost it, and it had a robot shit itself basically. Let's see. There was a television screen that featured Rollerball from 1976. They had sets from Logan's Run, so there was a lot of reused elements. The storyline itself is kind of based off of Jason and the Argonauts. Let's see here. What else is there? Sorry. Yeah, that's kind of where you can start with it. It also came out in 1984, so great year for random weird sci-fi movies. So that's what I got.
Yeah, so
oh, one other thing, sorry. Gene Roddenberry jokingly said, and he was the creator of Star Trek, he jokingly said that Ice Pirates was singularly responsible for bringing back the death penalty to California.
Oh shit.
Jokingly, or supposedly, in giant quotes.
Well, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. This movie is so good that it brought the death penalty back. Take that as you will. But I know that Nick, unfortunately, I don't. Have you seen this movie, Nick? Because Nick was unable to watch it with us, so he's gonna kind of be from the outside looking in. But have you ever seen Ice Pirates, Nick? Well, you're in for something special here, buddy.
I'm just a casual observer.
Dude, we should make sure to give him a space herpy.
We're gonna get there. Yeah, that's a thing. We're gonna talk about it anyway. The movie basically is 1984, right? 1980s, mid 80s camp through and through. It's a super low budget, not super low, but it's a low budget. And it's about pirates in space that were in a world or a universe where ice is the most valuable water is the most valuable commodity. They transport this water in ice form. I guess they don't really ever explain that. That's what it appears. They're ice pirates, though. But what I really found, what I found interesting about, before I do that, before we get into that, then for Nick as well, for all of you guys, I do have the trailer of this movie we can play, as long as I can remember to unmute it after the trailer. But I'm going to play the trailer so our viewers can see what this movie's about. I mean, well, so you can see the movie that we watched, because this is something. Here you go. Here's Ice Pirates, the trailer from 1984. Well, it was. Here it is.
At last, the space comedy you didn't know you were waiting to see. The Ice Pirates. In the far distant future, in a galaxy where those in the know don't go, real estate is cheap, and they've got great sushi. But there's no water.
You got any water?
It is a time when desperate men will swing from the chandeliers just to get a drink.
Just take a look at that.
Good men like Jason, space pirate and explorer of the cosmos. His chief engineer and fellow rogue Roscoe.
Oh, here. Quit that.
And the beautiful Princess Karina. One tiny band who must bust their buns, battling the masters of all the water in the galaxy. The evil Mithradoids, famous for not being nice.
Killing you would be too easy. I have something better in mind.
The Ice Pirates.
Let's party.
See startling special effects. See depravity in zero gravity. See glamour girls from another galaxy. See kung fu robots. And delight in the mysteries of the seventh world. The one place in the universe to get a decent glass of water.
Don't do that.
Insist. How's it going? It's going great. How's it going with you?
The Ice Pirates. A totally spaced adventure.
All right, so there it is. Yeah, we are. That was Ice Pirate, the Ice Pirates. I'm sorry, I've always called it Ice Pirates, but apparently it's called the Ice Pirates. Not to be confused with Ice Pirates, but
or Pirates of Ice.
Yeah, man. So this movie, the basic storyline here is we got these pirates, water pirates. They're space pirates. Not to be confused with the full motion video game Space Pirates. But these pirates, they, for some reason, you got to understand, some of the stuff I'm going to say is going to seem vague. I'm not being vague. It's just the movie moves I think Triv and I said when we finished watching it, I was like, this movie should be subtitled The Ice Pirates Shit Happens, because there's just always shit happening on the screen and you don't even fully know why. It's just stuff. Things happen, random ass shit happens left and right. We're going to definitely get to that. But our pirates, our rogue band of pirates, they attach themselves to this ship that's going by in space because I guess there's water on it or whatever. They go on with their robots and their
which they have several.
Yeah, they have several, and they they go to steal water. This is the Templar. The Mirtha. What was the name? Mirtha.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry.
Mirtha. Fuck yeah.
Let me turn that off. I could have turned that off with the button, but anyway, they go over to Mirtha, and this Mirtha ship, and Mirtha is inhabited by Templars, by the way, and we'll get to that in a minute. I'm gonna just try. Let me give you the basic story. Templars run Mirtha, which is where all the water in this known universe is. They run the place. They run the universe with Iron Fist. We have all the water if you want any. Water brings life. Yeah, yeah. They're pirates. They steal water. They get on here. They find a princess in suspended animation. They try and kidnap her. They get caught. She breaks them out for some reason, which we find that she's trying to find her long-lost father, who went off to find this place called the Seventh World, which is a world of water.
Hey, Jacob, your stream is frozen. Stopped.
Is it now?
Shit.
Did you get flagged? Oh wait, you came back. Oh no.
It's
no.
spinning.
Hang on. Let me see what's going on here.
You didn't get flagged for the aspires, did you?
I hope not. Surely not.
Of all of them, that would be weird that it would be that one.
It's moving now.
Yeah, it's just not in.
Oh, there it goes. I think. Yeah, it shows you, and there's me. Are we?
Hey, let me refresh. Let me refresh.
Refresh with summer rain.
Let me refresh you. Sorry, people. This is some professional work we got going on here, ladies and gentlemen. Am I up now? Yeah, there we go.
No,
I think.
I'm still seeing Nick, but maybe I'm lagging. Hang on. There you are. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we're good. I think. Right. I'm moving.
I'm blaming the ice. I'm blaming the ass pirates on this one.
It's definitely the ass pirates. Yeah. Okay. I'm a couple of seconds behind, but yeah, we're good now. You guys, let us know if it's for some reason not working out. It looks like I'm good. They said, oh hey, Antonio's here. It's all good up and running. Okay, cool. We'll be up and running soon. Oh, that's what Antonio said. It looks like I think we're good. I'll leave this up so I can see it. Anyway, that's what I get for closing that window. I always leave that open, no problems, and as soon as I fucking close it, now I have issues. But
Murphy's Law.
Anyway, so her father he went in search of the Seventh World. The Seventh World is a world of water, and he disappeared, never came back. She wants these pirates to take her to find her father, and she has a lead on another planet. They eventually, that's really all it is. The Templars and their main Templar guy are following after them, and it's really just them hotspotting to like different or jumping to different places to get clues until they find this wormhole-esque time funky thing that takes them to the Seventh World, which is more or less Earth, it looks like, to find her.
Earth.
Yeah, okay, it is Earth. To find her father or find this water. So that's her story. Basically, that's the story. Ice pirates taking princess to water world.
Why didn't I watch this with you guys last night?
It's okay. You know what this reminds me of? You know, like how they say, like they'll pull up a skeleton of a dinosaur, and they have an idea of what the dinosaur looks like, but by and large, they'll compare. Like a lot of people today will compare the skeletons of modern animals to the way that they look versus the way that you would think they would look based on the skeletal structure. And you'd think the story would be a certain way just because of the way that it is, but it's just a fucking mess, and there's pieces everywhere, and it ends up looking like a platypus.
Yes, it's a fucking mess. It is. The story of this movie is a fucking mess, but there's something about it. It's so out there, man. It is so out there that you can't help but just... It's like a train wreck. You're like, what is going on here? But you can't pull away. So from the get-go, I mean, as they're entering this ship, they attach themselves to it all like Star Wars like, and cut a hole in the hull and like can't get it open, and the movie is laced with like throughout with like goofy ass comedy. And the second in command, second mate or whatever he is, the guy who looks like who did I say he looked like?
Gregory Hines.
Yeah, he looks kind of like Gregory Hines. It's not Gregory Hines, but he looks like him. He goes running into the wall and bursts through it and ends up in the bathroom of this ship, where we have this alien creature taking a shit with like these super skinny fucking legs, and you're like, that's a thing. Whatever's happening there.
He's got chicken legs and a scrotum face.
Yeah, he definitely does. But And he's just sitting there watching. He's reading a magazine and everything. And let me see if I can hang on.
No, I have to ask: is this intentionally supposed to be this bad?
It's meant to be this funny, yeah. So initially, it was supposed to be when they first started pitching it and working on scripting, it had a $20 million budget through MGM, but then
shit.
It got slashed to $8 million, and so it had to be rewritten as a comedy. And there are places like there is one set of scenes that's kind of set in a cantina. There's so much going on, and it does honestly feel like it could have been something more seriously sci-fi. So whether those sets were already built, or it just happened to be something that they were like, well, we put all our money into this because reasons. But yeah, otherwise it is definitely meant to be comedy. It's kind of like Magical brought up Spaceballs. It does have notes of Spaceballs, like as far as the comedy goes, but this pulls from Mad Max and Alien and obviously Star Wars and like any space movie as of that time. It has vibes of that. It's insane how much shit is in it. Literally.
Well, yeah, and it's a fucking mess, but it's a beautiful mess. Now, I couldn't find a picture of our little space-faring friend, our little alien guy. He's in full-on alien makeup, this big vagina, lumpy head, and little skinny legs, and it goes with it. They like bust in and they're like, oh, excuse us, and they start walking and invading the ship, and like, did I just freeze?
I think you did.
I did. Hang on.
Wait, is this the guy in the toilet that we were watching the trailer?
Yeah.
I'll find the picture. I'm looking through the trailer right now for it.
And the other thing is too, like, there's little things in this where they didn't like change the color or add anything to it to make it more quote unquote spacey. So you have things like in that toilet scene or in that bathroom scene, there's just normal toilet seats. And later on, there's a guy climbing like a decent extension ladder. And it's a normal extension ladder. It's not like it's painted to be black or anything like that. It's just,
they're in like
you'd
this
expect to see it on a construction
spaceship like hole kind of thing. And there's robots. It's really fucking hard to talk about this movie because it's so fucking random. Like, they burst into this bathroom and there's this like twig man there, and then they like knock him out. But before that, they're just walking by like, excuse us, and you're just like, what? Oh, okay. And it doesn't ever explain this stuff. It just happens and it's in the background. It's, I guess, comedy. They walk by, they go down the hall, and they've got these fucked up robots with them they're always malfunctioning and stuff and doing dumbass shit. And then they go to this door and like some 18th century maid comes out. She's got like the white cap with the it makes they're in space in the future.
She would fit as like a character in Peter Pan. Like you would expect that level of character. And then you've got the Templars that are straight up medieval. They've got, like Jacob was talking about last night, they have chainmail, they have like old school swords, like the whole 9 yards. I guess they probably have like the guns that might make them slightly futuristic, but even that, it's like Jake said we're going to talk a lot about the costumes, and honestly, the variety of costumes is just so weird. Like, you don't expect there to be 100%, where everything kind of matches together across the board, because in theory you're dealing with multiple cultures, but there is absolutely nothing that connects any of it.
Here you're dealing with multiple fucking timelines. Okay, so check it out. This is the Templars. They're in space, and they're dressed like fucking. They've got chainmail and everything on, and you're like, what? Why are these people in space? They look like they're from like a Kingdom of Heaven or something, but no, and they just roll with it. They never say anything about it. They've also got laser guns and stuff like that, but these guys are carrying around like medieval swords, and they're running the ship. They're flying the ship and everything, and throughout the movie they're walking around with chainmail.
I sent the picture on Twitter to you in your message.
Yep.
I don't know if you're able to pull it up.
Picture of what?
The guy on the toilet with the skinny legs.
Oh yeah, we got to see that. Hang on, ladies and gentlemen. I know this is a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, there he is. Let's see. Yeah, I should. Here we go.
Sorry.
I left that on Triv. Here we.
That's okay.
Here's the guy, but he's too big.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that. It's just wow. That's a nice ass though. I mean, if we're gonna, grr baby.
There he is. They bust into this guy, just like sitting on the fucking toilet, and he's
he looks like he's having a good time though, so that's good.
And I mean, you're like they burst in, and yeah, it's never explained. I guess it does need to be. You walk in and the guy's on the shitter, but like just shit like that, and that's the funny. That's not even the most random thing in this movie. It gets so much more random beyond that. And we can't focus on every single random thing that happens, but the costumes are such a fucking mix. I think I mentioned that it seems like they went to Party City and just bought everything that was left after Halloween and just said, let's make some costumes out of this. I don't know how. We just got to make some fucking costumes out of this. And it they just threw shit together with fucking hot glue. And some of the costumes actually don't look that bad. Like they work. Like the general aesthetic of the movie is like what you think like the Space Pirates would be is something like here you're seeing on screen now. Like you've got this is by the way that's Angelica Houston of all people in this movie.
She's in the Ice Pirates? Man, I really have to watch
That's
this
her
movie.
right there. She's in Ice Pirates, and this is that kind of like look they've got going on besides this Don Juan looking mofo in the background. Like it works. It works, I'm cool with it, but then you go from that over to something like like the Templar guys or man, they're not even showing the really crazy shit. I mean, it just makes no sense. Then you've got like these 1980s kind of like people are wearing like there's big shoulder pads throughout this whole thing, like multi shoulder pads. One guy has like 4 shoulder pads on each shoulder, but they're like out to here. It is just the costume department was out of control in this movie. But so they get on the ship and they even go up to they find the princess. And the one guy, he starts like, she's in like cryo sleep, and he opens it up and he starts trying to look at her boobs. And then the Gregory Hines light guy walks up and he's like, hey man, come on. We talked about this. You said you weren't going to do this. I was like, said you weren't going to do what? Sexually assault an unconscious woman? How many times has this happened? And then he even said, he's like, oh man. And he goes, what happened to the rape and pillage part of our job? And he walks off. I'm like, this is our hero, ladies and gentlemen. Where's the raping and pillaging?
There's some moments that you just, it's oof. It's one of those things where like you can, with so many of these movies, like I remember on old Warner Brothers, there was always a thing of, this is from a different time, a different place. We can learn from the stuff that came previously and not repeat it. But yeah, some of the stuff like that, I suppose it was dialogue that, oh, well, hey, pirates, okay, they rape and pillage, let's do it, or something like that. Who knows? But oof.
Yeah, I maybe, but but that once again, this is not even the most random parts of the movie.
No.
The movie continues on. They finally take this chick with them because, they're trying to kidnap her. They get caught, like I said. So, okay, they get caught by the bad guys. They're in this jail. They go to that planet. I guess they're on the Mirtha planet with water because that's where the Templars are from.
Just a giant warehouse, really.
Yeah. It's their jail. They're, like, crammed in these pens with other people that are prisoners, and we suddenly get like the fucking Chi Rodriguez guy who shows up. He's like got like everybody else is dressed in these crazy out there ways. This one guy is dressed like some militant, like revolutionary from 1967, and he's sitting there going, fight the power, just say, and all this stuff. And I'm like, what era did this guy come from? But anyway, so then all of a sudden, we'll skip forward a little bit. Our two main characters, these two guys, are on a conveyor belt, and they're tied down, and there's a bunch of other people in this conveyor belt. They're rolling down this conveyor belt. And then these people start walking up, and they're like these machines got these giant shaving cream things, putting it on their face, and everywhere else, ripping their clothes off with hedge clippers that aren't even on. Like these people just walk by with these hedge clippers, and they're like talking like they're at work, and they're just moving them, going. They're not even on. They're just, and then they pull the guy's clothes off. I was sitting there like, what is he doing with those hedge? It's just hedge, like a Black & Decker hedge clippers. And he's like, and he takes the guy's clothes off, and then he like, fucking. They're sitting there talking to the people as they pass by on this conveyor belt, and like these women come up.
Pleasant conversation.
Yeah, and they're like, "Hey, ladies," he's tied down, and he's like, "Hey, ladies, you want to let me out of here? Maybe we can go have a party." And they're like, "Oh no, I don't think he'll be up to it," and all this, and they're shaving down below and everything. Like, of course, like they go to shave the one guy, and it's these two women, and then this old man walks up to shave the other guy. He's got a straight razor in the fucking future, and he's got shaving cream all over him, and he's like shaking with Parkinson's, and he's coming to shake me. He's like, and it's like, okay. And then of course, because it's the 80s, when they go to shave his nether regions, well, you'll know why in a minute. There's another person down here just doing that with a straight razor as well, and of course it's a clearly 1980s gay guy, and he's sitting there like, ooh. And you're just like, what the fuck is going on in this movie? I mean,
that's nothing compared to the build up to, like, that is just build up to what's next. And I will pass it back to Jake because, you should more talk about what's coming up next, since it involves more on your side of things.
Yeah. So they're going down this conveyor belt. They shave, down under, and they shave their faces and all this, and everybody's been real nice. And as they go down this conveyor belt, suddenly these jaws of death come down that are probably around that big, and you saw them in the trailer, and they start their teeth, these teeth, metal jaws, and they start going chonk, chonk, chonk in between their legs. Essentially, what this conveyor belt is doing is turning these, not essentially, it is turning them, it's making them eunuchs. Yep. Which, for those of you that don't know, because when I saw this when I was a kid, I remember them talking about that, and I looked at my mom and I said, what's that? That is a man, which we're going to get to that too, but it's a man who's been castrated. So they shave them all up, they castrate them, they cut their fucking balls off with this brutal-looking machine, and as we'll see in a moment, they bleach what hair they have, and they become eunuchs, and they do something to their brains too, they said, but anyway... and they become servants.
Lobotomize them, I think, basically.
Yeah. They say that to make them servants, even though they have fucking robots everywhere. But anyway, so they go and they're like, it's all comedy, and they make it through the thing, but it didn't chomp their balls off, thankfully for them. And the princess shows up, and she's like, just act like it did, or you're gonna lose it for real. So she's gonna spring these guys, or she lets them keep their nuts, and.
Well, that was kind of her.
Yeah, right? Good on her. So then the next scene we see is these guys being fitted. It's in like a fitting room with quite a few people that apparently have just been deballed. And all these people
there was a chick in there too, though. We talked,
Yes. And with that's we're going to get to that right here.
Oh, sorry.
They're fine. They're getting dressed in their suits, which are this is them. This is the eunuchs, by the way. This is what they look like. And we had these characters come to like inspect them, to buy. It's the princess, her little, I guess her mother, somebody she's with, to get new service. It's kind of like that scene from Star Wars when Luke and Uncle Owen are getting the droids. It's almost exactly like that. It's very much that, but they're getting eunuchs. And they go to whenever they talk, the Gregory Hines looking character, I keep calling him that, I don't know what his name is, but the main character, Roscoe, okay. Whenever they talk, these guys, they talk like this right here. Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. Because they're not supposed to have balls. Every time they talk like this. It's just, oh my god, it's hilarious, but. So the princess knows, she's in on it, and she lets them know. But what you will notice in the scene, and I'll put the picture up there again, and you can see it a little bit here, is right behind our main character here. There's a woman! There's a woman behind him! How is a woman a eunuch? I don't know how that works. I mean, my knowledge of eunuchs is not as thorough as some, I guess, but how the fuck is a woman a eunuch? Triv, maybe you can help me out here.
You see when a big chompy robot machine and a woman love each other very, very much, they have a moment where it inserts itself inside and then chomp, 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 and
that somehow seems
baby?
worse.
Yes, I got nothing. I maybe the act of the chompy thing coming toward is close enough. Maybe makes her go, I'm just gonna be a eunuch. I'll be a eunuch. I don't know.
I don't know, but there's a couple of scenes that we see with these eunuch characters, and there's female eunuchs. I don't know if that was like a continuity thing, or they meant for a woman to be there. Maybe you're not supposed to know it's a woman. I mean, she's got boobs and it's clearly a woman. But yeah, there's female eunuchs
Plus no
too.
bulge.
Yeah, it's a female unit. Well, there's not much of a bulge on them either because, chaka chaka. But
yeah.
There's a female eunuchs in this. How that works, I don't know. One of those random things it just doesn't explain. Skipping forward a bit, they go to a club, by the way, where we get some epic costumes. And you have to understand, I know this sounds really random, everything I'm saying, because it is. Because that's how the movie, I can't explain it. I can only tell you what I saw. And this woman just walks up to the main character here. He's in his eunuch suit and he's walking around with drinks. And she walks up and takes a drink and takes something and puts it on her head, and like 1980s electricity starts going through her. And she's like, oh. And she throws it to him on his tray and says, you've got to try it. And then she just floats away. Just floats the fuck away. She just goes up, and there's people up on the ceiling, like, just floating around. But there's people on the dance floor and everything just walking around like normal. I mean, as normal as you can be in this movie. She just floats the fuck away, and you're like, they never mention it. They don't say why. It shows them. There's just people floating up there in the middle of this room, and you're like, what the fuck is going on, man? What the hell? But from there, they break out, and the princess goes with them. They get a ship, or their ship, I'm not sure. They get a ship, and they take off into the cosmos. She tells them, hey, you're gonna take me to my dad, or I'm gonna kill you, or do this or that or the other. They form a pact, and she says, I'll give you some of the water from the booty. And our fearless leader says, okay, sure, yeah, we'll do that. And they go off to go on their trek to different places. And from here, really, there's not, like, story-wise, it's just them going from place to place to find clues until they get to the time place, which we'll jump there in a minute. But I do want to let Triv talk some as well and tell us about some of the random-ass shit we come across. One in particular, save that one, you know what I'm talking about, that is from the ship. We'll get to that. But from here we go, they go to a cantina, they go to a desert planet, they go to, I don't know. It's a fucking muddled mess, but it's a train wreck of a muddled mess. You just can't help but watch it. Where were you at this point, Triv? Give us some input, some of your takes, and just tell us a little bit about where we go from here.
Well, the one thing you missed, which I think you would hate me if I didn't bring up, was the pimp bot.
Oh my God, yes. Yes, I'm so happy you brought that up. This happens right before they escape the planet that they're on, and there is a bot. I don't have a picture of him right here with me. It's not needed. You don't need it. It's just like this trash can looking cheap ass Star Wars wannabe robot. They leave this place right before their big getaway. They leave this club where people are floating around and all this, and they're just about to have their big breakaway. And there's a character that's with them who shows up. You think he's going to be a main character. I guess he does show up on the ship later on. But they walk out of this club into the street, and off of this like Johnny Cab looking Total Recall thing comes this black robot, and he's got like digital smiley face and stuff, and it walks up, and there's all this other shit going on too. You're just like, what am I focusing on? I don't know. And in the middle of all this escape scene, he just walks up to him and says, "What up, blood?" On his chest.
Yeah,
on his chest,
like
he has a picture of a woman, a sultry-looking young woman. He goes, "What up, blood? You want to check out some of these space titties?"
Oh my God, that right there tells you everything you need to know about this movie. Just that moment right there.
The movie had me at that point, and it doubles down. They're in the middle of an escape. And by the way, when this happens, and just all of a sudden, this robot walks up and goes full on, like stereotypical pimp, 1980s pimp, and he's literally and I am not paraphrasing. He says these things, and he keeps on going on and on about, get some of these space titties, blood. Come on, blood. And the one of the guys who's escaping with them is like, hey, yeah, okay. Will you take this gold chain? He's like, yeah, for sure, baby. Come on over here. I'll introduce you to these space titties. He keeps on with his space titties and what up, blood, and all this, and he takes him to his car so this guy can get some space titties. It's good times.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But see, the beauty of this movie and what it does throughout, something that out there, fucking random, in the middle of an escape scene. Literally, they're working into a motorcycle car chase at this point. This happens, and the movie stops just to say, let's do this. And you're like, what? Okay, it's so out there, you can't help but just watch and be like, what? And it doubles down on it, it does it, and then the movie continues. It does not explain anything. It doesn't even call attention to, it focuses on it, but it doesn't even mention it. It just moves the fuck on. And like the other characters that are with this guy, they're like, oh, well, they just go, that's him being him.
And they just met this guy too, because he was also up to be a eunuch. Like he was in the same cage as them, so they all were, so they literally didn't know this guy, but it's like, look at this scamp. He's such an incorrigible rogue and whatever else.
But he shows up on their ship later on, doesn't he?
Yeah, he goes with them.
Yeah,
I think
somehow.
I think he probably gets taken. I don't remember 100% like how he ends up back at the ship, but they wait for him. But it's not really, he leaves the camera, you kind of don't see him again. Maybe he made a pact with the pimp guy, and maybe they went into business together.
He gets his space titties, and then he shows up on the ship. So yeah, and it never explains. He just walks on later on. They're in space. They've escaped. Big high speed chase, and he just walks in. He's like, hey guys, and they're like, hey, how are them space titties? What up, blood?
He had a really powerful load.
It
shot him into orbit.
For a movie that's directed by the director of Mac and Me and Mannequin on the Move, this makes a whole lot of sense now.
Is that who directed it? Oh my gosh,
Yes.
That makes Mac and Me. Oof. Mannequin on the Move, though. Mannequin 2 on the Move. It's my shit. Yes, it does make more sense. No, but those are well-constructed movies compared to this. This thing is a fucking mess, but it is like that perfect storm of just disaster that just works. Something about it just happens. If you changed just a fraction of anything in this movie, it would all fall apart. It's like a house of cards, but it just happens to work. It's teetering on the edge at all times, but something about it, you're just like, I can't stop watching this. But anyway, from there, I know I had asked Triv, and you reminded me about the Space Pimp, which we had to talk about Space Pimp, but
Absolutely.
So from there, okay, they've escaped this planet. He got his space titties from blood, got his space titties, and he's back on the ship somehow. They're off into the cosmos. Where do we go from here? Where do we? Give us a little rundown there.
I'm trying to think. So there was the robot, there was another trash can robot that's top opened up, and I think it was actually a trash can, but it had like a tongue inside that constantly go back and forth, and it made several suggestive advances on several crew people. So that's to be aware of. And oh my god, it was so weird. They also
the robot that they said was the trash robot, but it was like he would claptrap his mouth open, and his tongue was just going.
Yep, literally that. The tongue went back and forth just like that, and it's
every woman's dream.
It was
robot.
Scary, and it made me question why I eat. I'm trying to think.
You question what he's eating.
It's not untrue. They go out to they end up on a planet. I think so they end up going to this planet to meet up with this guy called Lanky Nibs, and
the names too.
Oh god,
his character's name is Lanky Nibs, and they say that with a straight fucking face. That sounds like something. I think I'd say that it sounds like something Encino Man would have said after Big Gazunga's Lanky Nibs. It's like a Polly Shoreline or something. Radmobile, Lanky Nibs, buddy.
So they go to this really well-constructed cantina where Angelica Houston shows off her her fencing prowess, and she ends up taking off a guy's head in a very, very realistic way. Our main character, Robert Ulrich, actually gets hit on by a lizard lady who ends up taking them out to the middle of the desert, and that proceeds to have a Mad Max knockdown drag out where they go to see this guy that's sitting in a wheelchair but doesn't actually need a wheelchair, and for some reason he has mules and pigs. And then there's a robot that has like a butler like bow tie on and
By
stuff.
the way, not to interrupt,
No, please do.
This is Frog Lady. this and what's cut off here is her friggin' enormous, just glorious bosom that they reference a few times. That is not green, by the way. Apparently,
Nope.
she ain't got green space titties. But this is her.
Unfortunately.
But when she talks, she talks like this all the time. Everything she does is like this. And and she's got a crush on it. But I'm sorry. Go ahead and continue.
Stop. I'm happy to have you interject because I know that there's definitely things that I'm missing. So they go out and they find this guy, and he ends up like, so this butler robot gets like run over, but then he gets up and later he's fine despite being completely crushed. Then the guy that they go out there to see, I think that's Lanky Nibs, I think.
It was. And the robot, the butler robot has a giant white bow tie on the whole time.
It's pretty good.
Random shit that just
and it's
is there.
massive. It's like clown bow tie.
Mm-hmm.
It's and he kind of shows up. I think he's with them throughout. I think him and the nanny character might actually have like a side thing going on because they're always holding hands and staring lovingly into each other's eyes.
Yeah, he's got like attachments or something, and she loves it.
Oh yeah, chicken bow. But yeah, they have a sad moment with this Lanky Nibs guy as he lays dying for some reason. And then everything explodes, and then they leave that, and they get back into space.
Wait,
and they end up...
you missed.
What
I'm
did I
sorry.
miss?
I'm sorry. It's
No,
only
no,
because
sorry.
I'm
No,
looking at
stop.
pictures while this happens. But the Radmobile that attacked them, that looks it looks like that fucking thing from Idiocracy with the big dildo on the front of it, that monster truck. Nick probably knows what I'm talking about. I can't remember what they call it, but it has like a big it has like a big skull on it. It's this right here. This attacks them. And this skull part is extended outwards, and all I could think was Idiocracy when that thing came up. Doom, 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 doom. It's pretty amazing. Yeah.
And it's a weird vehicle. It's like a pirate ship / like Mad Max Deathmobile / dildo thing. You know, it's important to have a dildo and to make sure that it's clean. And being that it's white, you know, it kind of hides all the stains, which is good. So as they get rammed up the ass, you know, they're well taken care of in that regard.
I just want to point out to everyone once again. I just want to say, reference this. Yes, this sounds. I know we're being random as hell and all over the place. We're not. We're following the story, like to the T. It's just that fucking out there, and we have glossed over some things, people.
Yes, and we're coming to other things that are just total highlights.
Mm-hmm.
So they get back on the ship, and I think this is where the thing that Jacob likes comes in. So I'll take it to that point, and then he can take it from there. Ron Perlman, this is his second movie, and earlier in the movie he lost his hand, but somehow he's got his fake hand, and they go to shake, and it comes off, and his other hand comes out, and it's like, oh, he grew back his hand. So then he's in the kitchen trying to like make lunch, and there's all these random hands that are sticking out of the wall. And they applaud him at one point for his culinary expertise, but he brings this turkey out to the table, and he's like, it's filled with my mama's stuffing, and we're not sure whether that's like her ashes or I don't know what. But as he sets it down, all of a sudden it starts to move, and then.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so just to backtrack just a little bit to work up to this scene, we get introduced to another thing, just another random thing that the movie decides to stop and focus on for a moment, as our two heroes, our captain and his second mate or whatever, are sitting on, Michael Knight and Gregory Hines Light are sitting here on the ship, the bridge of their ship. There's something in the floor. It looks like a big rock, or probably about that big. It's an egg, apparently, and it hatches, and something comes out of it. And it attacks one of them. They don't know it. The Gregory Hines looking character, he's asleep, and it gets on him, and he's like, what was that? And then they start looking for this thing. They find the egg, and they're like, what is this thing? And you don't get a good look at it at this point. But they're like, what is it? And they go look at the ship's manifest that is in a closet that I think corpses fall out of, and they just shove them back in there. like skeleton corpses. They're like, oh, and put it back in and just go to read the manifest. Once again, don't even say anything about it. It is a creature that can wreak havoc on an area. And it's let me show you guys a picture of said creature. Or no, before I do, let me describe it. It's like a little worm-like creature, and it opens its head, and it has a face. It's kind of disturbing, and it runs around and wreaks havoc throughout the film randomly, here or there. And any other time, they just don't talk about it and forgot about it. And it is called, literally, the movie names it this. It is its official name, a space harpy. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a space harpy. This thing runs around, slithers around the ship, and just randomly. And this is what is inside of the hunk of meat that Ron Perlman's character throws up on the table, and it bursts out and just goes ballistic in the room and then gets away. And that's what it does. It just shows up every now and then, and people are like, space herpes!
They have a Benny Hill style chase scene for
sped
a
up
bit.
and everything.
Yep, exactly.
And it does shit. It runs around. It makes people lose their minds for a few minutes and then disappears, and they're like, on to the next thing. And then later on it'll happen again. This happens a few times throughout the film.
It does.
And it's,
you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Christmas Vacation, when they have the squirrel that pops out of the tree, and like the one guy's like, squirrel, and then it chases them all over the place. That is this.
Yeah, but
Only
multiple
not
times
fuzzy.
throughout the film.
Yes.
And then just as soon as it goes, they're like children. As soon as they can't see it, it doesn't exist. It just goes away, and they move on with the plot of the movie. But so yeah, the space herpy is here, and he is ready and raring to go. And that's what he does. So from there, we go to it. We leave Lanky Nips, or whatever his name was, and they figure out that they get coordinates to this wormhole, for lack of a better word, of where the princess's dad went. And we're glossing over some things, yes, but they go to this wormhole and jump through it so that they can get to get to the water world. Seventh planet. Now, right before they do that, they're cruising along. They're on their way there. Our captain and the princess decide, hey, you know what? Now's a good time to fuck. So they get together, and he comes in his best pirate outfit, and I will definitely try and throw up a picture in the video version of this, but he's gone full pirate now. And so is Ron Perlman. Ron Perlman suddenly, they just walk in. He's been wearing this pirate garb that I showed a little while ago to everybody. Just suddenly they come on the ship at one point, and he's got like the traditional pirates, like white and red striped shirt and like pirate boots and leggings and all that. And you're just like, why suddenly he's just dressed this way? Like he's like deck swabbing or swabbing the deck or something. What? You're on a fucking spaceship. What happened? But then right after that, our main character just busts up into the room wearing like this white puffy shirt that's cut all the way down to his navel, and he's got the pirate boots and a rapier sword and everything. And at this point, you're just like, whatever. You just run with it. Speaking of rapier, he walks into the room, and they go to get it on because apparently now she's hot and ready to go. But they decide that, hey, let's go into this 40X theater that we have in our room here, and they insert a program before he inserts his program, And they go into this little room that essentially just has this big screen right behind it and a place to lay down, and they start getting it on. But in this theater that they're in, this little theater, like it has like water and like all this stuff going on in the back. It's random as fuck. Wind, but wind is blowing them when it rains. Like they're covered in water and rain, and like they're getting it on. It looks like the cover of a fucking trashy romance novel. So then that happens, and they move on. Just like that. Once again, random ass shit happens, and then they just move on. They get to the wormhole thing. They go into it. The bad guys are on their tail, so they're both in the wormhole. Now, as they're on this wormhole, the bad guys start to board their ship. Now, the thing about this wormhole is it distorts time. It starts making time randomly ramp up and move forward. I think at one point they were like, 30 seconds is like 1 day, and or stuff like that, or I don't know. Don't even try.
30 years ahead at one point, yeah.
Yeah, maybe even more than that. I don't know. Time is moving forward, but when it moves forward, they'll be fighting and stuff, and then all they did was like shoot scenes, and Benny Hill fast forward them randomly. Like it's almost like Zack Snyder speed ramping, but nowhere near as good looking. They'll just be walking normal, and they're just real fast. It's great, and they grow beards as they're doing this big battle with the bad guys. The princess, like one of the characters that we didn't get to, this guy who has his head can come off of his body. We didn't talk about that guy, but now his head's on a robot. He's a human being, I think. He says in the middle of the battle, they're having a big fucking battle on this ship, and he comes up. He's like, "Captain, Captain," and he just walks away as this battle's happening, and he's like, "Yeah, what's up, man? The princess would like to see you." He's like, "Well, I'm a little busy." And he's like, "I think you should go see her now." He's like, "Hey, you guys got this? All right, I'll be back." Pretty much just like that. He walks off, and she's had a baby. She got pregnant. And in the time dilation, she not only got pregnant, because at one point she does say, "Oh, I'm not feeling very well," a few minutes earlier. She went through an entire pregnancy and had a baby in like 5 minutes. And she's holding it, and she's like, "Look, here's your son." And he's like, no. Or he's like,
and then he gets pissed on.
Yeah, the baby pees on him. This is all in the middle of a battle. And he goes, sorry about that. And he walks off. He walks off. And at one point, the kid shows up again, but it's like 10, and it's running around with a toy store going, just in the background. There's, like, as the movie ramps up, it's like they just start throwing so much shit at you. It's like, I can't comprehend it all. There's so much stuff going on. It's just random, time forward, time slow down, beards, giant afros, and it's overload. And
the wigs get bigger and bigger and bigger the further into the future they get.
Yes, as they're going. And our two main, the captain and his second mate at one point, they go through this fight and everything. They're going through this time dilation thing. And just to give you an idea where they end up, because the princess shows up, she's got hair like that's going down the hall, and they're in this big room. The robots and the bad guys are on them, and our main character's got real long hair. He's really old. I think at this point he's played by somebody else. But the Gregory Hines-esque character I was telling you about, of course, he's the black guy, so he slowly grows a bigger and bigger afro, and by the end of this time dilation, he looks like this. Now, up to this point, the growth of his afro, which he did not have an afro originally, by the way, but the growth of his hair is
a little normal.
Normal-ish. At one point, it gets a little big, but then all of a sudden, it just shows him on screen. He walks on screen like this, and they act like nothing. Just everything's normal here.
It got really humid really quick.
Oh, God. And then suddenly, like, the big bad guy shows up, and he's old as fuck, too. Everybody's old as shit. And then our main character, who's been our main character this whole time, suddenly swings on screen super young and starts, like, beating the bad guys. And it's the son, but he's fully grown at, like, 35 years old now. And he's like, "Hello, father!" But it's played by the same guy, Ulrich. And then, suddenly, as he, like, hugs them and all this, and they're all, like, old as fuck, about to die, it starts flashing back to earlier. Just you don't know why. You're like, what is happening? And then it just goes back. And it's like, and they go, oh, it brought us back to right before we entered the wormhole. But they're on the other side of it. So all that was for fuck all nothing. I don't know. And the bad guys are gone at this point, I think. Or I think it said something about they were just like 2 degrees off, and they're just off into nothingness now. But they made it through. Yep. Good for them. And they made it to the water world. Yeah, they went through that little ordeal, but now they're back to normal. And they find the water world, a.k.a. Earth. And they all kind of cheer and do their freeze frame for the end of the movie. They go, yay! And it like freezes, and then credits roll over it because it ends like a fucking 80s sitcom with music and the freeze frame, and then it cycles through just pictures of people from the movie.
Yep. It's all just a dream.
Oh, and the space herpes. You may be asking, what happened to the space herpes?
The most important question.
It shows
really.
up like 4 times throughout the movie and wreaks havoc. You're thinking this is going to be a big end. No! He's walking down the hall during this big fight scene, and one of the robots stepped on it. That's it! It just stepped on it. One of the robots just randomly, accidentally stepped on it. It's not even a big scene. He's just like, he's running through. Nothing about the space herpes going on, and he looks down, and it's just, it has stepped on it. And he goes, oh. And he walks off. I'm like, you said, okay. I am nothing. There's a part in the middle of all that random ass shit that a robot just in the middle of all, like they're fighting and going on, and it just goes, oh, and like shits literally out of its ass. It shits, I guess, some lubricant oil, nuts and bolts and washers just fly out of its ass. And the camera's all up on it. This robot's not even in the scene so much. It's just these 2 guys talking, and next to him, and they go, and you hear the robot goes, it like zooms in on his ass as it shits all this out, and then goes on with the conversation. No explanation, no nothing. It just happens.
I feel like they bring up the robot stuff when they are absolutely out of ideas. They're like, funny robot scene, go now! Because there's another robot that for some reason, like, he's got this bolt, and it's kind of in an awkward position in the front. He just like pulls it out, and then all of a sudden he falls apart. Yeah, and what she's saying, there's no build up to that. It's just 2 people having a talk, and then right there in between them, kind of in the background, this robot sitting there going, this robot is not a focus of the scene, and he just has a bolt. And I think maybe somebody says something about robots, and it just goes, phoom, and just falls the fuck apart. And then they go, huh, and walk off. Shit like this, that is the entire movie. The whole fucking movie. That's why I said this is The Ice Pirates. Shit happens, because that's exactly what it is. Just random shit throughout the entire movie, and it's never really acknowledged. It shows it, but nobody ever goes, what the fuck? Except for the viewer. You will say what the fuck more times in this movie than any other movie. And this was brought to us by the glorious Trivial Theater. I try. Oh god, it is a fun movie, there's no doubt. It's definitely, if you can do group watch, or if you can do it, I mean, at least have a drink, because just to
lots of drinks,
put your head around what the hell is going on, you gotta have something. Otherwise you're gonna sit there and just like hand on the side of your face and question every single life decision you've ever made.
All of them. I'm questioning everything. My question is, Nick's been pretty silent because, like I said, he didn't have an opportunity to watch this movie. But Nick, tell us, just based on what you heard from us, what does this seem? I mean, is this the next thing? Is this on your watch list now? Is this something you're just like, I've got to see this movie? What did you think about what we told you and what you've seen?
Be honest.
I mean, it's something. That was quite a synopsis of a movie that may or may not make. I don't even know what to think.
It does not make sense.
I'm sitting there going,
no, not even.
Do not try and make sense of it. You will go insane.
No. Yes.
This is definitely a Trivial Theater movie. I can tell you that.
Very much so. Very much so. But this is the type of movie that I was wanting for this kind of series on the show. That, like I said, it won't be every episode, but we'll pop up with one here or there. And I wasn't, admittedly, I wasn't as prepared this time around for this one as I would have liked. So I could have had some of this stuff to better illustrate to you guys. This movie in particular needed a way to visually illustrate to you what I was talking about, because it's so fucking out there that you're probably like, I don't think I could put it into words. I did the best I could. But this is the
You
kind of
did
movie
well. I'm proud of you.
I think a lot of people like me, I had forgotten about that. I remembered it, but I remember seeing it when I was a kid a lot. It was in my house a lot. It was just like on HBO or whatever channel we had. But it's one of those movies I just hadn't seen in decades at this point, and it's definitely one of those movies that's forgotten by a lot of people. So I think Triv is totally right when it comes to watching this movie. Don't watch it alone. Don't watch it alone. It's kind of like that movie The Signal. It'll drive you insane. Watch it with someone. Watch it with a friend or friends. You got to have somebody, because once this information from this film is in your head, if it doesn't get out, if you're not able to tell it to speak to someone about it, your head will explode and you'll die. So
yep. Total Scanners moment.
Yes, very much so. It's just so it's worth seeing, but see it with some friends or something. And yeah, there's that. Don't forget big afros, but space herpes too. Don't forget space herpes. Oh, okay. So that's
just the music is it's perfect, but it's so damn weird. It just
80s.
You're going. How did you come to this music with this scene? But yeah,
they don't try and make sense of it. There's no making sense of this movie, but it is an experience. That's for damn sure.
Mm-hmm.
Once you've seen it, you can say, "I've seen the Ice Pirates. Who wants to touch me?" But
I know I do.
So that's all I've got to say about Ice Pirates. Do you have anything else, Triv?
There's also a unicorn with a detachable horn, but that's another story for another day. So
forgot all
yeah,
about that.
It's definitely if you can find it, and you're at all into movies that are just slightly left of center. I mean, this movie is
slightly way off from center, just fucking out there.
That is true. That is true. Like if you're, people always go to The Room or Samurai Cop or some of those. This is exactly like those, but nothing like those, because it literally there is a general story structure, and there is a supposed quote unquote arc that happens throughout, but it is such a this scene happens and that scene happens and then this scene happens, and that's really the best way to describe it. But it is so fun and weird. It's just, yeah, it's a good Friday night watch.
It is the weirdest, I use this term very lightly, quality movie I've ever seen, because there's money. It's not the budget got cut considerably. There's money on the screen. There's stuff on there. I mean, some of the sets to a degree, but like the costumes and things, as out there as they are, there's money there. You know, it's not like cheap in the way of Samurai Cop or something like that. There is money, and it's a studio-ish film, but oh my god, it's just so out there and random as fuck. Jesus Christ, this movie is it's a mind fuck. But yeah, that's our take. Triv also has a review, a collab she did with who was it you did it with?
Well, for this was just a review that I did for Ice Pirates. So.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought it was a collab. She has a review on her channel. It's probably much more in depth and shows more visual aids, if you will.
That's
so
I live and die by visuals.
Yeah, so check out her channel. Check out her channel anyway, but check out her review of Ice Pirates if you're interested in it. I know that this was just kind of random as fuck, because that's what this movie is. There's no making sense of it. But yeah, Ice Pirates. If you're looking for something really out there and weird and different, check it out. Space herpes.
Space herpes.
Yeah. All right, guys.
With faces.
Yeah. With faces, yeah. We got one more part of the show, and then we're going to get out of here. Now, this part of the show, I am going to say, before we jump into it, I'm going to go ahead and do our, for those of you that aren't interested in this next part, I want to go ahead and throw out there my stuff, Nick's stuff, and Triv's stuff. Check me out. You know, where if you're here watching this, then you're aware of my channel, but hopefully you've liked and subscribed. If you like the content, like it. If you like all my content, hit the subscribe button. I got a lot more coming. But also, you can check me out on Twitch at Jacob Anders Reviews, and there's also Twitter at Red Neville, where I put some stuff, and that's where you can contact me if you have any questions, concerns, or anything like that. Want to tell me, please stop doing this show. And of course, Wednesday nights.
Don't stop.
On Wednesday nights, as of right now, I do gaming streams of weird, odd stuff. On that, I have. Hopefully, I'll have it by this Wednesday. I have a 3DO that I finally bought. Wanted to own one of these consoles for 30 years when it first came out. Never could because I was poor. But now I got a good deal on one and some really interesting games I've never played. Some FMV games that fit in line with this movie probably, that hopefully I'll be playing Wednesday. But if not, I'll find something else to play. Actually, that may or may not happen. There may be another thing going on, which, yeah, maybe a different stream because of something else that may be going on that night I've kind of forgot about. Anyway, Wednesday night, or Wednesday afternoon as well, is going to be our next episode. It'll be at 12 Pacific time, 3 Eastern time. Not 100% sure what's going to be on that show as of yet, but we'll be here for that. And yeah, that's me. Triv, tell them a little bit about yourself, and then you, Nick.
You can find me here on YouTube at Trivial Theater. It's spelled R-E, not E-R, because generally speaking, I'm not that fancy. I do quite a variety of random, obscure, and straight-up bad movies. And I kind of split it between normal reviews that are kind of goofy, as well as collabs with a wide variety of creators across the movie sphere, as well as other areas, just people that enjoy riffing on weird movies. Most recent one was Troll 2, which was a hell of an interesting time. I also have one coming up for Danny Elfman's brother did a movie back in the 80s called Forbidden Zone. It's rather un-PC, but it is a scream of a movie, so I'm looking forward to trying to work my way through that. It makes this movie look pedestrian, so we'll see how that goes. You can also find me on Twitter at Trivial Theater. So I post there mostly just random things, nothing specific, but stop by if you're looking for random funny things. So
absolutely, check out Triv's channel. It's awesome, and Nick's too. But Nick, tell us about where you're at, where they can find your stuff. What you got going on?
Yeah, you can find me at Movie Emporium on Twitter and YouTube. I am currently doing the Westworld run-through of season 4, which is one of the best seasons I've seen so far of the series, so definitely check that out. As you probably know, if you are watching, myself, Triv, and Jacob do a podcast, which is called The Fifth Dimension. It's a Twilight Zone podcast, so check that out. We usually post every Monday, but sometimes things happen, but just we are getting ready to talk about Eye of the Beholder. That is an interesting episode to talk about, and it has some interesting moments that lead to some discussions about whether it is in the top, rankings of our list. But anyways, other than that, yeah, Movie Emporium on YouTube and Twitter. There you go.
Great. And Nick recently was getting over illness. He is feeling better now, right? Well, thankfully,
I nod as I cough.
Thankfully, Nick was on the mend and he is feeling better. So I know he had a little slump in content because he was down for the count, but looks like his content is starting to flow back out again. So that's good to hear and good to see. Alrighty.
Very much so.
So that is all that out of the way. So now we're going to, for those of you, to let you know, just up front, I'm being very upfront about this, we're going to talk about Nope and also Nope spoilers here in just a minute. If you are interested in seeing Nope and don't want it spoiled, now would be the time that you want to probably depart. I hate to see you go, but we are going to spoil the shit out of this movie. If you don't care about spoilers, then hang around. If we're going to talk about Nope, we'll tell you about it. But yeah, before we jump into that, I do appreciate everybody who did hang out here today and came and hung with us. I know it was a little bit lighter crowd today. Probably everybody's watching all that San Diego Comic-Con stuff and not my show. All good, though. I'm cool with it. And I know this show's been a little bit of a shit show, more than usual, but hopefully I'll have my shit together better next week. So if you don't want to see Nope spoilers and you do plan on seeing it soon, after you watch that, I will put a clip of this up on YouTube as a separate video as a ending explained spoiler review. So check that out then and see if you agree with some of the things that we have to say about this very interesting movie. So there it is, guys. Just know we are about to spoil the shit out of Nope, so be prepared. If you don't want to hear spoilers, get the fuck out! So
this is your last warning.
This is your last warning. Here we go. All right, so Nope, the new Jordan Peele, not really a horror thriller, maybe.
heard a lot of people refer to it as a sci-fi or mystery.
Yeah, it's definitely a sci-fi. We have all, well, me and Nick have put up spoiler-free reviews, and I think that Nick, you did a spoiler
I only
review.
did spoiler. Yeah, I didn't.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't do spoiler-free because I just didn't. At that point, it was already out, so I'm like, yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna do spoiler review.
Well, okay, so Nick has a spoiler review already up, which I knew that because I saw part of it. I didn't see the whole thing because I kind of wanted to get I didn't want to know your thoughts going into this. But I have a spoiler-free review. This is my spoiler review, ending explained. My basic thoughts on the movie, just real quick to get them out of the way, without going into spoilers as of yet, would be that I enjoyed it. I did enjoy Get Out and Us just a smidge more. It's a very different movie from those, but it is definitely a Jordan Peele movie. I saw someone refer to him recently as the Alfred Hitchcock of this generation, and I was like, that's...
Oh, fuck that shit.
I don't know if he's Alfred Hitchcock, but he is telling interesting stories like that. He falls in line with the Twilight Zone, in my opinion, in the stories he tries to tell. But I did enjoy the movie. I really enjoyed the first half more than the second, and I know that's kind of more people have enjoyed the second half than the first half. But I enjoyed the mystery of it all. Once we had the mystery revealed and we knew what it was still interesting, but it lost obviously that mystery, so I wasn't as interested at that point. It's more exciting in the second half for sure. That's when all the bombastic, exciting stuff happens, but it wasn't as exciting to me and interesting once we figured out what was going on. And also the ending, I guess because we've come to expect, kind of like M. Night Shyamalan with Jordan Peele, that there's going to be that big twist ending, and there are twists and turns that happen. That we don't get that in this one. There's not a big twist. It's much more just we get resolution and things happen, but there's not a big twist in the end of this one. So the ending wasn't what I was expecting in that regard. But overall, I did enjoy it. I think it's worth checking out. It would just be, in his 3 movies he's released, this would be the 3rd one. But I think all of his movies are really good. So why don't you, I'm going to jump over to Nick first. Sorry, Triv. And then I'm going to let you, because he saw it next in line, and see what did you think, Nick?
Okay, so I'm a huge fan of Get Out. It's one of my top 10s of the decade. It's a masterpiece in filmmaking. As you said properly, he is definitely of the lineage of a Rod Serling with the storytelling. You can see it in the Key and Peele. There was a lot of like horror, sci-fi commentary. I've told you, I think I've told you, Triv, as well, but I definitely told you, Jacob, that I was not a big fan of Us. I have a lot of problems with the storytelling and the aspects of the concept behind Us. I think it's a little too up its own butt, to be fairly honest. And so when I went in to see Nope, I was really excited because this brings back Daniel Kaluuya, Keke Palmer, Michael Wincott is in this movie, which is awesome. I was really excited about that. I'm sure Triv as well was excited about that. But the second trailer gives way too much away, but I was really looking forward to this movie. I will say this, I enjoyed this more than Us. It's definitely not anywhere near the greatness that is Get Out. But the messaging behind this movie is one that has a lot of things to say, and I love the concept. I love the idea. I love what this story is. I just think that, once again, Jordan Peele as a director, ever since this is what we talked about with Taika Waititi. Yeah, Taika, where I feel like there is a level of up their own butt, and that sounds funny, but there's a level of like they're sniffing their own butt like a dog, and
drinking their own Kool-Aid.
Yeah, that too. Sniffing their own butt like herpes? A dog. Yes, space herpes, but it's a movie that it has so many ideas that Jordan Peele wants to talk about that sometimes it gets muddled in its messaging, and it definitely suffers from a lot of bloat, to be fairly honest. but I still enjoyed it. I still enjoyed the ideas and concept behind it. Like I said, this is a movie that's very layered in its messaging, and I like it when I did my spoiler review. I told people in my review, I said there will be things that I'd miss, and I've learned a lot since I've seen my comments on the review, and there is a lot of stuff in this movie, and that's why I enjoyed it. It's a movie with a lot of interesting concepts and ideas, and I definitely think it was a much better film than Us. That's kind of where it's a long way around to say that, but not as good as Get Out.
I got you, and you know, I get that. I know Us is very divisive. I liked Us, but like I said in my review, anytime you have a movie where there's like a confined situation happening to some characters, and then in the end you find out, holy shit, it's been happening across the world, which is what happened in the end of Us. Sorry about the spoiler. You got me. I like those kind of stories. I'm a sucker for those, so maybe that's what kind of worked with Us for me. But you, Trev, you just saw the film yesterday, was it?
Yep, yesterday.
So what are your thoughts?
So I'm a big Jordan Peele fan. I actually was the first one that I saw of his, and then after that I saw Get Out, and then obviously this. Yes, I know it's like John Wick. I'm behind on that, but I have seen all three.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously this one had a different feel to Get Out and Us, and I don't know how much you don't mind me spoiling. I'm not going to go super detailed, but can I drop things?
Yeah,
we're talking.
We're going to get into the big spoilers together here in a minute, but yeah, you can. It's okay.
I'll
it's
just
spoiler
do little
review.
things. Yeah, exactly. So
It's spoiler herpes.
the one thing that I will say is, I guess because I take a very analytical look, like I look in the background for things that will lead to things further. So I think I spent too much of the first half of the movie looking for the things that were going to lead to the later stuff in it.
That's a problem with the movie.
Yeah, so there was
that's
a
what
lot
you
of...
run into with these kind of movies, is that when you know there's a mystery, you spend a lot. It's kind of like Twilight Zone. You're looking for what's the thing,
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes away. I think this is what you're trying to say. Sorry to take over, but you're
No, absolutely.
You're looking for the thing and not paying attention to what's going on right in front of you. So yeah, I get what you're saying.
I tried to, and I pride myself on doing a decent job of that. So like I was keeping the flow of it in the foreground, but in the back of my head, yeah, I was definitely looking. Like they showed posters from different things, and you know, it's hard to determine what's wall decor or what's there for just, you know, set dressing, and what is there to, oh my god, had you noticed this picture or that building or whatever. But so the first half, it felt meandering to me a bit, but I'm not sure if that was more because I was so intent on watching for things. Because when the hammer drops, I mean, obviously it drops hardcore. It's not pissing around. So I guess having an idea of where things were going was nice for me. It still had that mystery of, okay, you know, is this the thing that it appears to be, or is it something different? And I avoided spoilers. Like that's why I went out as soon as I had the time and watched it. I avoided the second trailer. I muted Nope on my timeline on Twitter and Facebook and everything else. I wanted to stay and I don't normally do that with movies, but with this one, was so intrigued by the premise, I needed to keep it under wraps. From a perspective of, I enjoyed where they took it and the directions that it took. It had little bits in it, like they brought up the scissors from Us at one point, which was kind of neat. They used, I didn't, before going into this, when they talked about Nope, like why it was called Nope, I kind of looked at it like, okay, you know, is it an anagram of something? Is it something that is, you know, essential to plot? And the fact that they kind of at different points, you know, a character will say, nope, like especially in regards to, well, you know, we could follow this thing that's haunting the area, or we could, you know, walk away, and they just go, nope. It's not even a question. It's just, nope.
Like when he sees the kids in the barn, and that one part, he goes, nope.
Yep, exactly. I love that. I think that's so great. And although it's a goofy moment and it kind of breaks the tension of it, there's a scene where things are dropped on the main house in this, and I laughed my ass off because there's this mobility scooter that's hanging off of the roof, and it's just the most ridiculous thing. but I love it. And the fact that all of the stuff kind of sticks to the house and changes the color, and I love that so much.
They repainted your house.
Yeah. Oh God. Anyway, I guess. So I walked out of this. I enjoyed this. It's not. I don't think it's worse or better than Us or Get Out. I have a respect for this in a different way than what I did Us and Get Out, because it is a different kind of movie. Even though it had some horror elements, it's not horror per se.
Yeah, I agree with you totally. This is his previous two movies could be called horror thrillers, I suppose. Probably more thriller than horror, but still, they got horror elements. And like you mentioned, and I mentioned too, there are definitely horror elements here. But this is not. This is a different tone than his other movie. Well, maybe not tone. It's a different genre. This is not the same genre. Yeah. So I did find it difficult comparing this to his other movies. But let's jump right in. It sounds like we all liked the movie to varying degrees. Nobody hated it. And we all enjoy Peele's movies. Let's jump into the juicy stuff. And basically, a quick rundown what Nope is. And what I do think that I hate that they released that second trailer. While it doesn't give away as much as you think, and I referenced that in my review, you think it gives away more than it really does.
Oh, no, Jacob. It gives away way too much shit. I'm sorry. It's it's almost there are trailers sometimes that they do this where they're giving away so much because they want people interested in the movie. And you see that in this trailer, the second trailer. I'm sitting here watching. I'm like, why don't you just show me the fucking movie at this point? Because you're just showing me the whole movie in the trailer. It's so bad. I hate when they do that shit. They did in Terminator Genesis or whatever the fuck that was.
Well, and that's what I'm referencing when I said that in my review is the trailer shows the alien. This is an alien abduction-ish movie, and it shows the spacecraft in the movie or in the trailer, like broad daylight. It's right there, which we see it multiple times in the movie as the movie goes on. But you're not supposed to, if you saw the movie with no trailers, you're not supposed to know that out the gate. But it shows it, and the trailer really leads you to believe that, hey, there's aliens and they're here. And that is what's more or less going on. It could be interdimensional. I'm sure somebody's come up with some Lovecraft stuff or something. But it is a creature, but it's not a ship. The ship is the creature. It's an animal. And we're led to believe that it is. Entity. Yeah, it's an alien creature, or maybe interdimensional. I don't know, but it is not of this earth, or at least nothing we've ever seen. But it looks like a spaceship sometimes. That's the big, oh my god, reveal of it all. The big spoiler of the movie is that right there. And I didn't like that the trailer showed that at all. I mean, the first trailer kind of made us feel like, yeah, I think this is about aliens. But it was never like, it never like threw it in your face. And that's what we needed. That second trailer showed the alien ship or the alien itself, actually. And I didn't like that. They should have just kept that. It is, and it harkens, something this movie said a few times is exactly what the trailer did. The movie references the Oprah shot. Because a lot of the movie is them recognizing, okay, there's aliens here. A lot of the movie, they think it's an alien ship, and they're trying to get video of it so they can sell it and profit from it. And they keep saying, we need the Oprah shot, that big shot that can go on Oprah and everybody will believe. So that's why you see in the trailer they got all these cameras they bought, and they go to Fry's, and they have the guy from Fry's come and help them out, and they enlist the help of a director of photography, which is Michael Wincott's character, which, by the way, if you don't know who that is, he was the bad guy in The Crow, and he was also the captain in Alien Resurrection, and many other things. But love that character actor. But they talk about getting the Oprah shot, and that is essentially what that shot. There's multiple shots in the trailer showing this alien, but you get the big shot in the end that just shows it taking up the whole screen, coming at Daniel Kaluuya's character on the horse. It's just right. If you didn't know, now you know. They essentially took the Oprah shot and put it in the trailer. And I'm like, why did you do that? Because leave us thinking, I'm pretty sure it's aliens, but I don't know 100% because it hadn't said. Leave us with that. Now we know it's aliens. Okay, yeah, it was an alien creature, but it just took away from a lot of the mystique. Once again, the big twist is that it's not aliens or a ship, it's a creature. So yeah, it doesn't give that twist away, I guess, and what it eventually turns into fucking Mothra, but it does give the whole alien thing away in that trailer, and I really hate that. But the movie is basically that. It's got a lot of you go just a second, but it's basically them. Their father dies because stuff falls from the sky, and I think it's a nickel that falls from the sky and hits him in the head. With a nickel. And it kills him, and they run a horse ranch that does like horse wrangling for Hollywood, and that's how they know all these people that have film backgrounds and stuff. And they recognize, hey, there's aliens out here, it's doing stuff, let's get it on camera. And most of the movie is them just trying to get this thing on camera as Daniel Kaluuya's character slowly figures out that he comes to the conclusion it's not aliens, it's an alien. The whole thing is, and it's don't look at it. But well, I'm sorry, what were you saying, Nick?
No, I've come to the as I've been reading the comments of my spoiler review. Someone brought up the idea of that creature at the end, how it morphs, and you and I were talking about this. About it doesn't make any sense. What if it's like a Rorschach test? What if it's whatever you think it is? Like it could be a butterfly, Mothra. It could be something else. I was thinking about that. It doesn't really kind of what the concept of what he's trying to do with it. I'm just saying I thought that was kind of something I was thinking about. What if it's like whatever you think it is, because the idea of like an entity or America believing one thing and then you believe another thing, that type of thing. That's where I was kind of thought it was interesting. I mean, I don't know.
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, that is an interesting take on it, that it's what you think it may be. It kind of takes that form on, kind of Ghostbusters Stay Puft Marshmallow thing. I mean, like, they think, there's this stuff in the sky, it's an alien, so they see a ship, and then when he finds out it's an actual creature and he finally looks at it, that's when it turns into this giant alien-looking creature. Maybe you might be totally right. That might be what's going on here. But that aside, let's jump right into that big spoiler there, and then we'll talk about some other stuff that I was wondering about. What did you guys think of the big reveal that this alien? Because we know it's alien, or we think we're told by the movie that it's aliens fairly early on, but the big reveal is a little bit like in the third quarter of the film, a little after the halfway mark. We get the big reveal that it's an alien itself. What did you guys think of that? Were you surprised? Were you not? Did you think this was a good reveal? Were you interested? What did you think?
I actually really enjoyed it, like the fact that like they had to kind of adjust the way that they dealt with it, because it was obviously it's a living creature, it can learn and grow and all that stuff. And I don't think there's been very few movies that have taken that perspective of, it's you have to, like, kind of like what they did with the T-Rex, like, you have to stay still in order for the T-Rex not to see you. As long as you didn't look at it, you were generally okay.
That's exactly what I thought too.
Yeah, and even like what happens with Stephen Yeun's character, the fact that he tried to use it as a center attraction to grow his business, and it ultimately destroyed him, because it's still a wild animal, it's not, that all the kind of stuff. I appreciated the fact that Daniel Kaluuya's like training did help him in the way of understanding how to deal with this, monstrous alien thing.
And what Triv's referencing is later in the film, well, actually not even that late in the film, Daniel Kaluuya, because he is the trainer of the horses, he references early in the movie, he tells someone when they're on a set with his trained horse, hey, don't look it in the eye. Don't look the horse in the eye, because that freaks them out and they do so. And apparently that's a lot of animals, and that's a training thing. And in the trailer, you'll probably see how they look down at the ground a lot. He comes to the conclusion that if you don't look at this thing, it'll leave you alone. It won't attack you. I guess, sure, okay, that's the movie's lore. But it only scoops up people that are looking, or goes after at least people that are looking up at it, that are paying attention to it. So if you're not paying any attention, it'll leave you alone. And they use that that defense quite a bit in the movie.
Mm-hmm. And it is overused, I think, but I liked the fact that I guess it was a unique take. and that's what Jordan Peele does very well. To various levels of success depending on the movie, but I did really enjoy that concept because it is, you look up in the sky and you see a UFO. That's all you think. Okay, it's a flying saucer. That's always what it is. Little gray man, etc. And you didn't get that with this, so I really appreciated the fact that they didn't do that, and the way that it hid in plain sight, like it was camouflaged through that, through its so it disguises itself as a cloud, and the only way that they figure it out is you see this time-lapse footage and this one cloud doesn't move. Like, it has all those mannerisms of an animal, and I think that's neat.
I did like the details like that in the movie that the movie gave me. I'm not going to sit here and say that I didn't hate the idea that it was an actual creature instead of an alien. It was more that I already knew it was, extraterrestrial in nature going into it, but I liked all the little details of how they figured some of this stuff out. Yeah, the looking at the ground thing, I don't feel like that would work every time, because I don't think it works every time with animals, but I like how they work that in there, and it added something to it. But Nick, you were about to say something.
Oh, no. The one of the things I was noticing while watching the movie, and we'll probably talk about this at some point with the whole scene with the monkey and the TV show, is the idea of human culture and the idea of human population, how we disrespect and we abuse and we take for granted the ideas of the animal culture, the human culture. You look at, the idea of this creature is basically like that monkey, where in essence, you don't respect it, it's going to destroy you. And that's what happens. Like, the Stephen Yeun character and that poor lady, the young kid, is they took for granted the whole situation with, him trying to sell it off like a circus attraction. And everybody's there, the icy machine and the little stuffed toys and stuff like that. And, there's more to it, but that is kind of like the underlying theme about what's going on with that creature is, Daniel Kaluuya sees it with the horse, as we see in the beginning, the idea with Hollywood and stuff like that. And then what makes it really interesting and fascinating is he figures out how to respect and keep himself safe. Because if you're attacked by a bear, there's a way to keep yourself safe, but it's not always going to protect you. There's always going to be something that, like you said, that could come back and hurt you. And that's what's happening here. Like they take it for granted, but they realize they have to respect it. And that's what it comes down to, is the idea of like something stronger and bigger than you. And you don't polar bear. You look at polar bear. If you were to go up to a polar bear and you acting like a fool, you're gonna die like a fool. And that's what happens to the Stephen Yeun character and his family and everybody in the stadium. And like, we get that scene where they're like, we actually see them up in the creature being consumed. And it's terrifying. It's like the
and
it's like a fire in the sky or whatever.
Yeah.
Where it's just horrifying, the unknown and the idea and concept. I don't know. I thought that was fascinating. That's just how I was looking at it.
I'm glad you brought up the monkey thing, because
that shit was insane.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and I referenced that in my review, but I didn't want to spoil it or talk about it much. So the monkey, basically, quick rundown, the Stephen Yeun's character runs this attraction right down the way from where Daniel Kaluuya and Keke Palmer's ranch is, and it's kind of like an attraction, a gold rush type of Western attraction, and he's trying to, I guess they discovered that this thing comes out and eats horses, and it's eating, they've been feeding it pretty much and trying to get it to come out so that they can make money off of it. People come take pictures and all that. Now we learned that Stephen Yeun's character used to be a child actor back in the day. He was on a Western, and he was also in a sitcom, and it was very much a 90s-esque sitcom. It's like a sitcom with, like, a mom, dad, brother, sister,
Alf.
but they also have, it was like Alf. They have a monkey named Gordo that is part of the family, and apparently there was the birthday episode where Gordo's birthday, the monkey on set lost its shit and killed it hurt some people. It went nuts. I think it killed some people. I know it disfigured.
I think it killed 2 and disfigured the 3rd.
Yeah, it disfigured the girl. Stephen Yeun's character made it out alive and physically unscathed. But that's his backstory, and we see that in the very beginning of the movie for a moment, we see bits and pieces of it, and later in the movie it shows the whole thing where the monkey went ape shit because of some popping balloons. And there is one thing that happens in that scene that I thought odd that I want to talk about, but I also just want to talk about that whole backstory, that whole thing in general. What you're saying, Nick, yeah, I guess that could be what it ties to, but I also want to go back to...
There's more to it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. There is more to that scene than...
And that's what I want to get to. Me, myself, personally, I enjoyed the scene. I enjoyed the backstory of a character, but I didn't really see it as needed. You mentioned bloat a minute ago, and you're probably going to educate me here in a minute about like what the deeper relevance of the scene was, but I didn't see the point of it when it came to the main story. Maybe I could take away a little bit of what you're saying about like respecting animals and things like that. That may have been part of it, just to hammer it home. But it just seemed like I didn't hate the scene. I was fine with it. But at the end of the day, I look at it and I'm like, did we need that? If that scene wasn't there, if they took that scene totally out, that whole backstory, would the movie have been any better or worse? I don't think so. I don't think it would have lost anything by having it taken out. So I don't know. What did you guys think of that scene? What was the purpose of that scene? Why was it in the movie? And did it we needed that much backstory to a character that's just going to get sucked up into this monster rant like at a show? I mean, I didn't feel like we needed that much from that character.
Go ahead.
I'm looking at this from just an out, because I don't even know how to describe it. I guess, Nick, you probably have a lot more insight on this than I do. I was trying to think, and I don't know whether, just given Jordan Peele's, the way that he goes about stuff tends to have multiple layers of meaning and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, it's half formed in my mind, so bear with me as I walk through it quick. The monkey, you take a monkey out of its natural setting and you put it in human clothes and expect it to act like a human. And then something primal, like being scared, happens, and then it goes apeshit because it's fight or flight. And I think everyone in this whole movie kind of has those reactions in the same way. And maybe I'm generalizing, and let's like looking up at the sky.
That's part of it, actually.
Yeah, that's kind of where I went with it, and I didn't. My brain went to places that could be taken further, but I don't feel like it would have gone that deep given what he was talking about. Because the monkey could be code for several things if you wanted to go that route. The one thing, and I'm sidestepping just a step, but I remember in the first trailer they made such a big deal about the jockey in the very first animated film, or the very first film, or that being, I guess, the very first film. But like they made such a big deal of it, and it made for a cool little side thing. I'm like, oh, that's really neat. I'm glad that they pulled from that and brought it to here. But I was trying to figure out where else that could sit throughout the thing, because when I expected it to be more, and we do get some stuff on how Hollywood is and how they react to people, but I didn't get as much as I thought it was going to. I thought that the alien thing was going to tie back into that a little bit more, and maybe I just missed it, but I don't know. I was kind of walked out not sure of those things. So
well, here's where I stand on that whole situation. And I actually learned a little bit more that actually makes a lot of sense. I remember texting you, Triv, and I didn't want to spoil anything, but I said that Jordan Peele has a huge problem with Hollywood.
Right.
And the problem with Hollywood and these directors like Taika Waititi is a prime example, is they have a major qualm with the Hollywood system and the use of African Americans and minorities in the system to indict Hollywood, but yet they take money from Hollywood, like 40 to, I don't know, this is probably like a 60 or 70 million dollar movie. And the whole idea behind what's going on with that scene when they're on the soundstage with the horse, you lead back to what you were talking about with the animals and stuff like that, but it also deals with how African Americans and individuals of that call, Indian Americans, Asian Americans are treated. And you can look at the whole incident with the monkey as an indictment of an abused individual, like an abused African American individual in the Hollywood system. You know, the fact that it took so long for them to get an Oscar, and the fact that the monkey is destroying white people who are the main group of individuals that love or get a lot of love from Hollywood. And you see the monkey actually put his palm out to the Asian young kid, the Stephen Young, as a kid, and it's basically what's going on. Like the mistreatment of the horse is the same thing about the director and the actress coming in and talking about, you know, they want to bring in a CGI horse because they're not respecting. I mean, they use if you've ever worked in visual effects or you know anything about visual effects, you look at that sphere that they use to like kind of use lighting and stuff like that, and they put it up to the horse. Is showing the disrespect of the actors. They're disrespecting Daniel Kaluuya because his father's dead. They're disrespecting Keke Palmer's character. They're disrespecting this group of individuals, and that's why, you know, Daniel Kaluuya's character looks so despondent, because he goes in there and he's like trying to explain to him about the horse, and they're not listening to him. And it's the same thing with like the monkey situation. It's the same problem that is dealing with, and there's more to it than what I've seen, because there's also dealing with, like I said, the whole monkey that being indictment of like how African Americans are treated in the Hollywood system. But you know, you look at like it's stupid to think about, but it is really a problem. And you see it with Jordan Peele as being like one of the first African American individuals to win a screenplay Oscar, and that's what the main thrust of that whole scene is trying to do. Is Keke Palmer's character comes in and talks about the first black man on a horse, because it's never, I mean, nobody knew, I didn't even know that's actually a true story.
Yeah.
This guy was the first person to be filmed.
Yeah.
And you always hear about like the train coming towards the screen and stuff like that. You never hear about that. And that's what I think Jordan Peele, I'm sorry I'm going so long, but I think that's what Jordan Peele is trying to insinuate. Is it's like in Get Out with the whole idea of like white people trying to, you know, be like black people in a lot of respects. That's what he's insinuating. There's more to it than that, but that's what I gathered while I was watching it. And it doesn't make sense. My friend, one of the friends I have, was like, what the hell was with the monkey situation? I had to explain to him like why this scene was so important. So that's kind of where I leave. I'm sorry, I know I'm going into like a lot of detail, but that's kind of, sorry Jacob to kind of go too long, but
no,
that's
it's
kind of
fine. I guess
that's where I was leaning. So
how I would respond to that is, and that's great. That's cool. I'm
yeah.
To give it,
I know.
That puts
Yeah.
it into context, and that I understand. If that be the case, I more understand the reasoning behind that scene now, what its meaning was, and I suppose maybe like the meaning it does. If the overall meaning of the movie definitely probably goes into that, knowing Jordan Peele and like where his movies usually go, definitely has something to do with that. Did it? The movie is still about this big fucking alien and these people. Does it really?
Yeah, it's
tie
about
into
yeah.
that?
It's
Should it still be there? I mean, I understand its relevance, and I think that's it's a powerful message, and like what he's doing there. I get that, but would it take away from the movie if that whole subplot was taken out? Not the subplot, but just that part.
Yeah. That's where I got into the whole Jordan Peele's up his ass thing, because I understand what he's trying to do. I think he's trying to instill a message. It's the idea of also respecting the animal culture, and you know, this creature is, you know, a very dangerous situation, and nobody's respecting it. And Daniel Kaluuya, that's why he says no, because he's like, I'm gonna step back and I'm gonna let this thing do what it needs to do. We're gonna feed it the fucking whatever those balloon things are. And you saw it with the TMZ guy. He comes in, he's like, you know what, fuck you, man, I'm walking away. And yeah, it's
that was hilarious.
Yeah.
And it's such an indictment, like, yeah, the TMZ guy, like, between the helmet and how shiny it was, he had multiple cameras going. I mean, this guy obviously did what he did and did it well, but the fact that he wasn't going to be deterred regardless of what were the risks, and he just gets his ass eaten. Or first he gets, like, I don't know how he broke his leg or his arm or whatever, and then he gets eaten, and it's just like, it's kind of that sweet justice of, you know what, you're a fucking asshole, and you're getting exactly what you deserve.
Goddamn paparazzi. Yeah. Well, Yeah, that, and I think I agree. I think I may think I'm with you there. I think it could possibly be that, head up your ass a little bit. Once again, I enjoyed the scene, but when I think about the movie as a whole, I'm like, I don't really think it needed to be there, because while we're talking about respecting animals, respecting cultures, respecting this, you need to respect your audience too. And you're telling a story, and while you do have a message you're wanting to tell, when telling that message, if it's like an underlying theme, if you're telling that message, if telling said message comes at the expense of the movie as a whole, you got to wonder, how much do I need to tell this part of the message if it's going to take away from the movie, this overall story I'm telling? And I feel like I'm not going to say it took away, but it took away in the respect that it was a lot longer than it needed to be. Because it kind of stopped the movie to say, okay, stop the movie, message, and we go for a few minutes, and then we get back into the rest of the movie. Even if the rest of the movie does somewhat go along with that message a bit, it seemed a bit out of place.
I will say this. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was real quick. That's why I like Get Out so much, because it has that message in there, but it doesn't stop the movie. It doesn't have that whole scene with the monkey in the middle of the sequence, and it's what makes it kind of disjointed a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It really is. I don't know.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, I was just wondering if I was crazy there. Now, I didn't realize the subtext you told us about, so that does give me more understanding of that scene. But I still don't think that it needed to be there, honestly. It's weird, because it's one of those weird scenes that I liked it. I liked seeing, because they set up this intrigue about what happened there, so I liked seeing it, but at the end of the day, I don't think it was needed. Now, I want to say, and I know, Triv, you were about to say something, but I wanted to point out before I forget, there is something in that scene that I kept focusing on, and I saw it in because it's in the first shot of the movie, shows that scene, just a part of that scene, and then we see the whole thing later. There's a shoe. I think it's the girl's shoe in the middle of the room that we see. And it is in the second time they show it. It is more focused on for a moment. It's a shoe sitting there that is standing up straight, like on its from the front of the shoe up, and it should not stand. There's no way it could land that way. You couldn't make a shoe stay that way. It's impossible. It just doesn't work that way. And that's what kept making me think, does this tie to the alien? Is the alien somehow making this monkey go? What's going on? What is up with the fucking shoe? Did you guys, Triv, you just exclaimed, I assume you saw the shoe too. What do you guys think was up with that shoe? Because I honestly don't fucking know.
The shoe fits. I don't know.
I was trying to figure that out too, because when they're with the I guess the amusement park with Steven Yeun, he has like a hidden like museum thing of all of the leftover paraphernalia from the movie, and he only shows it to certain people. People pay more to see it and whatnot. And that was there too in the background. It was one of the things on the behind them.
Oh, was it? I didn't see that. And see, that's the thing about Jordan Peele. He is one of those directors that I'm not gonna say everything. A lot of the stuff in the background, even if it's not called attention to, even though that was called attention to at one point in time, a lot of the stuff in the background means something. So I was just curious as to what was up with that fucking shoe.
And I'm not sure, because at first when you saw the horses and like the first horse, I think it was Ghost, like takes off into the distance, I assumed that it was something called, like I assumed whatever was whatever was going on with the UFO was calling the horse, and that's why it disappeared. But then obviously you find out later that it's running because it's scared, and then it gets sucked up because it gets it looks up at the thing. And I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, like with the monkey, like the monkey kind of chills when he sees young Steven Yeun under the table and stuff, and it's kind of like he's calmed down. He's there's no more stimulus to kind of freak him out, and so he's reaching out his hand, and then obviously gets shot through the head. I don't know, I was trying to figure that out too, and I really
going into the monkey thing, just branching off of what Nick said about it a moment ago, I mean, it could be Steven Yeun was his character not him as the actor, but his character as a young boy, he was, the minority in that setting as well. Him and the monkey were the two minorities. They were the different ones within that family. Not going to go down that road too much, but after it takes all of them out, then, and I'm not conspiracy theory, but they're done. The ones that are disrespectful of the monkey, and he sees him, and like Nick had said, he like puts his hand out to him or something like that. I don't know if that played a part in it or not. I have no idea. It's one of those things that's just like, I do like when movies do this where it like leaves like little threads for you to pull on. But that whole scene though is just kind of like, I don't know why the scene was there, but the shoe thing really, because that shoe, like you said, I didn't realize it was in that museum too. It had a purpose. It's there, and it is in such a, and they focus on it that second time. It is in such a way that does not make sense. It's not like, oops, that, it's an optical illusion. It's standing up straight. They made it do that somehow, unnaturally, and I don't understand what it was there for. I'd really be curious to know what that was. What are your thoughts, Nick?
I was looking it up while you guys were talking, and this is a possible explanation. There's one potential meaning behind the shoe standing up, and Nope could be the movie's exploration of spectacle and bad miracles. When siblings OJ and M. Haywood realize that they are dealing with UFO, OJ labels it as a bad miracle. As amazing as the uncovering of alien presence is, the phenomenon comes at a horrible cost, since the UFOs dispelling waste killed their father and continued to wreak havoc upon the town. The shoe standing up and Nope could be also seen as a bad miracle, given the unexplainable nature of the phenomenon and how it happened during a tragedy. It plays into the movie's theme of turning tragic into spectacle, as Ricky is profiting off the collectible despite the trauma of his circumstances.
Maybe. I don't know.
It also said it could have been a massive red herring.
Yeah, I could see that, because Jordan Peele strikes me as the type who will do those kind of things, and maybe it is. It's just one of those things that stuck out to me, and it was the fact that it was in the middle of the scene that I didn't fully understand. Why is this even here? I understand why it's there if that be the case, but that doesn't mean I think it was necessarily needed. But anyway, monkey. There's a monkey scene. Monkey goes ape shit and kills
Literally.
and maims some people, but beyond that, there. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Can I just say that? So the poor lady, I think it's Stephen Yeun's character's older sister in the TV show that the monkey is on.
The young girl.
Yeah, exactly. And so she gets mauled in the same way that there was a lady who got mauled by a chimp back in like 2010. Face was destroyed, and this poor lady, she's like at the show where they're showing off the UFO and stuff, and she gets like sent up into the UFO with everybody else, and her ass is killed, and it's just like, oh my god, you poor lady, haven't you been through enough?
Stop hanging out with Stephen Yeun.
Yeah,
because he is bad news for you.
Apparently so. And I mean, she got like, you don't see it well because she's got a veil, and the wind kind of picks it up, and you do see bits of her face, like she's lacking lips. There's some real distortions, but I kind of felt bad for her. And then it's like her motorized scooter ends up on the roof of OJ's house, and it's just like, oh, you poor woman.
Yeah, and that was used. That visual of her was used predominantly in the trailer to make us. I think that was another misdirect and all that. So, yeah, I wonder if they even put that in the movie, just knowing that, hey, this is gonna be a trailer shot. Anyway, yeah, that's the basic. And in the end, the one more thing I want to talk about, spoiler wise, it's a giant monster. It turns into like this weird, like Dick said, it doesn't even make sense. Like its look and everything is like, but it is extraterrestrial. It never explains that. I'm okay with that, I guess. The ending of the movie, the very end of the movie, the way they kill this thing, Keke Palmer's character lets up this. It doesn't like colorful flags and stuff because it ate something that was attached to that. And it has a bad history with those. But she releases this giant float into the air. It consumes this giant float. And she gets the Oprah shot when it does, by the way, or picture. And then I guess it crushes this float within it, and the float explodes and pops the monster. And I couldn't help when this happened, because it happens, it just goes up in the air like that. Because the movie does have a streak of comedy through it. I felt like that was like we're expecting this big, huge like spectacle there in the end, and that was just kind of like a joke, like because it just kind of went out with like a off in the background, and that killed it. I feel like that defeating the monster that was kind of a joke unto itself. What did you guys think of that, and how did it leave you? Did it leave you feeling, oh yeah, I felt very fulfilled by that?
Personally, I didn't. I like the idea because it's ultimately Kiki that takes, or Emerald that takes care of the monster, while while OJ is off, trying to play bait basically. So you don't know whether he's alive or dead, and I'm assuming, it was just kind of a, oh well, you know what, this whole area is going to be decimated if we don't take this thing out. Okay, giant float thing. Okay, cool. I don't know if maybe it was kind of the War of the Worlds defense, where like you've got all this helium inside of this float, and that expulsion of helium was enough to poison it, and B, the explosive force of it was enough to kind of tear it apart because it was so delicate, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. It's just kind of like by that point you kind of knew all the stuff, and it's just like you knew that it probably wasn't going to take over the world, because that's not how Jordan Peele movies end for the most part. For all of the stuff that goes on, they do generally tend to have not a happy ending, but like a sort of like satisfactory positive ending.
Yeah,
I guess
that
makes sense.
I found it wasn't as satisfying as I wanted it to be, but it also doesn't have that twist that I was looking forward to. And that may have been a misdirect too. He's making you think there's going to be this big twisty kind of thing at the end of the movie, and there's just not really. So maybe that was part of it as well. Maybe it's all by design. But at the end of the movie, while I still enjoyed the movie, I don't care if it was by design or not. I was just kind of like, oh, okay, it popped. Credits. All right. How about you, Nick?
I mean, to be fair, if you think about Get Out and Us, the endings have never. He doesn't end movies like. If you look at Get Out, it basically ends with Lil Ray Howery basically showing up, and that's the end of the movie, and he kills the woman. But it's the same thing. I mean, it's just like it feels like maybe he doesn't have a way to end it, and he just maybe there's a message there I don't get either. But I think just. Okay, so Frisch's big boy killed.
I thought big boy too.
Creature. Yeah.
But
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't as fulfilling as I wanted to say. Once again, I still enjoyed the movie. I did enjoy the first half more, but it wasn't as fulfilling as I was hoping it would be. I don't know what I was looking for exactly, but I don't know. It didn't quite give it to me. It was fine. The ending was good, but I wanted it to be great. But
I mean, you can tell the man loves his social commentary like Rod Serling did. So we talk about social commentary all the time in the podcast we do, and boy, this guy loves his social commentary. It's like it bleeds like hardcore on the screen. It's crazy.
Yeah, but I think you might be onto something, that maybe it's like he went a little bit too hard into it, where trying to get that obscure message across at times in the movie came at the detriment of the overall story he was trying to tell too. Because that's good social commentary, is when it's ingrained, interwoven into a greater story or a bigger story, and you put the subtext in there. It ceases to be subtext if it becomes the forefront of the story, which at times I felt like the story stopped and said, hey, by the way, this. And you're like, and it fits into the story, but you're like, what's going on here? But it's still, overall, I did enjoy the movie. I was overall satisfied. I enjoyed it. I think it's worth checking out. Were there any other spoilery things that we missed? I mean, really, that are big spoilers? I think we touched on all of them.
I was actually going to reference this earlier to talk about this real quick. You guys were talking about the poor girl, the poor girl who gets like beat the hell. It's funny because when she's at the little rodeo thing, which is like a really cool design that Jordan Peele came up with. I thought it was funny how like she was beaten all the hell by this animal, and yet she's doing the exact same thing, going back and watching another animal be technically abused, I guess, or being used, and she ends up dying from it. It's like, yeah, maybe you didn't maybe you didn't learn your lesson the first time. I thought that was kind of funny, but like I said, it's nothing else I can think of spoiler wise.
No. Me
Michael
either.
Wincott being abducted into the sky.
I did think
he's like,
I did think that he, because when he gets sucked up with that camera, I figured that was going to work its way into the end, because he went up there with the camera. I figured it was going to shit out the camera, because it eats people and then it shits out all the unorganic stuff. I figured they were going to find that camera and see something about the inside of it, and that's how they were going to figure out more about it or how to defeat it. So I felt like that was a wasted opportunity. I mean, that's just where my mind went. It was fun.
They just need their own. They need their own Randy Quaid from Independence Day to go up there.
He kind of, yeah, that's kind of what he was.
Yeah.
What about you, Triv? Did you have any other insights or any other things spoilery wise about the movie?
Not so much. Not so much like questions, but more just when the UFO like shits all over the house. I just you get like keys kind of impaling themselves and things, and that was kind of neat to like, because you kind of figured, okay, whatever killed the dad is probably the thing that's being of issue, but the fact that it basically shits blood and metal and stuff all over the house, I cracked up something fierce, and I was the only one in the theater, but I could not stop laughing at that.
It had Taco Bell.
Yeah, I don't know what that says about me as a person, but oh my god, I laughed way too hard at that.
I was
poor
just
horse man with the key inside of it.
Yeah.
Why it eats the organic stuff, but it started shitting it out all over the house. It's like it was pissed off, and it was like, "I'll shit on your fucking house." It's like the Amber Heard of aliens.
His territory. He was marking his territory.
It's a very spiteful.
Yeah, just an asshole alien. But all right, well there it is, guys. I mean, we can go round and round with this movie. Clearly, there's a whole lot going on in it, and stuff I didn't even realize myself. But I knew that there was stuff that I was missing and stuff that I didn't pick up on that viewing. So I was glad to get out here and talk about this so that we could all bring some more clarity to it. As a movie, like I said, I think it's worth seeing for sure. It's an entertaining movie, but there's a few parts I'm just like, you could have cut that. I think Nick said it both best, that there's some bloat that could have been cut away. But so that's Nope. Spoiler review, ending explained, spoiler discussion, whatever I decide to call this, I don't know. Spoilers. Hope you guys enjoyed Nope too. If you liked it, let me know in the comments. If you didn't, let me know in the comments too, and let us know if you think that we're just totally off the mark and wrong about some of this stuff or not. That's the beauty of the internet. You have your voice. But that is Nope, and that is the show, ladies and gentlemen. I really appreciate you guys all hanging out. We already did our little outros and all that stuff, but I appreciate everybody coming and hanging out for the day. And this was much longer than I anticipated. I think I say that every show, but we had a lot to talk about with this stuff, and I'm still working out all the kinks in the show, but hopefully it gets better as time goes on. Check out Nick over at Movie Emporium. Check out Triv at Trivial Theater. Check them out at all their socials that we mentioned earlier. And I just want to say thank you, both guys, for coming on today and talking to me about this stuff and taking the large portion of your weekend to come and talk to me about this stuff. I know Nick's probably tired. He's been up for a long time, and Triv's got stuff going on too, so she's probably like, I could have been doing something else today. But thanks for coming on today, guys, and hope to have you on again soon. I'm sure, Nick, you'll be on again.
Oh yeah, I'll be here at some point.
And we'll definitely have Triv back if she'll have us. But
absolutely.
Anyway, thanks for hanging out, guys. I really appreciate it, and I will see you all hopefully on Wednesday afternoon for the next show, episode 5. Bye.